achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land, we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, "My Pledge," he had written these words: "America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone." We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
There's a rumble in the distance, something stirring up the ground. Coffee shops and corner stores, people talking all around. But the words they're speaking softly got a weight that pulls you down. Something's moving through the grapevine, word by word from town to town. And they lean in close to tell you what they heard somebody say. But the truth gets bent and twisted as it travels on its way. Who do you trust when the talk gets low? Who do you trust when the whispers grow in the halls of power where the secrets flow? Who do you trust? Tell me who do you trust? Backroom deals and handshake promises sliding underneath the door. Politicians playing poker with the chips are rich and poor. Every word's a calculation, every pause worth so much more. While the people keep on waiting for the truth they're hungry for. And they lean in close to tell you what they heard somebody say. But the truth gets bent and twisted as it travels on its way. Who do you trust when the talk gets gets low, who you trust? When the whispers grow in the halls of power where the secrets flow, do you trust? Tell me who do you trust? Thicker, every lie becomes the truth, and the honest voices calling sound like strangers in the booth. We're all just trying to listen to the static and the noise, but the loudest information drowns out the quieter voice. Who do you trust? When the talk gets low, who you trust? When the whispers grow in the halls of power where the secrets flow, who you trust? Tell me who do you trust? Who you trust? Do you trust? Do you trust? Do you trust? When the whispers grow.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Political Theater, everybody. Thank you guys for being here this evening. If you guys are joining us just now on the X Space, or if you guys are listening on Rumble, YouTube, Substack, wherever you guys may be, thank you guys for being here this evening. We got a lot to talk about. I'm Walter Kurt. Thank you guys for being here. We have a huge show for you this evening. I may have a guest here joining us here in just a little bit. We're going to discuss some of the stuff going on down in Venezuela. But first, the first thing we need to get into is the biggest news of, I don't know, the past couple of months, I'd say. President Trump's recent statement talking about the ending of third world immigration. Guys, this is a huge deal, so we're going to get into this real quick because it's, I think it's really time that we actually do this because it's necessary. I mean, there comes a point at any, there really comes a point in every household where the adults need to finally step back into the kitchen, look around and realize that our pantry has been raided to the point of complete, devastation, really. The bowls are empty, the cabinets are half bare, the table's crowded with people that no one has any idea who they are. They didn't build this country, they didn't maintain this country, they didn't contribute to our society, yet they're still demanding seconds and they're demanding thirds and more resources every single day. And America really has hit that moment for us because we didn't stop being generous. It's because of the sheer weight that has happened from the amount of immigration that we've had in this country. And I think it's timely we finally realized that. So tonight I want to walk through what I mean by that when I say that it's been taken. It's, the hard numbers behind it. Because if you go look at the scale of what the Biden administration really ushered into this country legally, you begin to understand that the statement from President Trump can't just be a policy shift. It's really almost a survival announcement, if you can even put it that way. So let's start here. Underneath Biden, the Biden administration in the United States accepted or granted some sort of asylum status to roughly 5 million people from the developing third world. Now, that's not counting illegals. It's not counting gotaways, not counting people who slip past Border Patrol in a nightly surge or something like that. No, this is talking strictly about official pipelines, the legal pathways that Washington expanded while telling you to accept the consequences like a good, quiet little taxpayer. So, green cards first. Biden's term produced nearly 4 million new lawful permanent residents. And DHS estimates that about 85% of those go to developing or third world countries. So that's 3.4 million people added to the long-term American household net. Now, that's not debate. That's not a pause or anything. That's not discussing the capacity or problems with that. That's just what happened. So the conveyor belt of admissions just constantly flooded into the country, and Americans barely had time to look up before there's been another wave. And this has been going on for decades at this point. So the legal refugee pipeline, so this is the refugees, over 190,000 of them, all from third world conflict nations. And were these people fleeing hardship? I mean, it doesn't really matter. The answer is who cares to that, because they need to go back anyway. Even our noblest of intention doesn't change the math behind it. You can't pour endlessly from a pot that isn't being refilled. And before you ask, the number of refugees is actually separate from the asylum numbers. So 160,000 migrants were granted asylum, and those countries range from Afghanistan to Venezuela to China. And again, almost all of the developing nations are included in that list. It's not like we're taking in Europeans, really. So that includes, every single one of those includes schooling, housing, healthcare, social services, local infrastructure, and of course, Washington doesn't pay that bill. You do. So the big one outside of those, and on top of the other two, is actually the humanitarian parole explosion that happened underneath the Biden administration. So paroled into the country underneath the Biden administration was 1.3 million people from developing nations. So that's 133,000 Afghanis, over 500,000 Cuban, Haiti, Nicaraguan, Venezuelan, and over 650,000 Ukrainians. It's not necessarily a small trickle, at least that's not how I'd put it. More like endless hordes of invaders expecting us to foot the bills. So add it all up, and what you get is a clear picture of that no civilized nation on earth should tolerate. 5 million third world entrants accepted in 4 years. 5 million bowls handed out, 5 million seats at the table pulled up, 5 million new demands on a system that has already been struggling with illegal immigration. So, and who stocked the shelves for the endless hordes? Well, you did. We did. I did. American workers, American families, American taxpayers. And the reality is we're tired. We're not bitter, not hateful. We're just tired. We're tired of being told that compassion means endless obligation, while our kids lose classroom resources, lose hospital beds, lose community safety nets, lose housing, lose wages, lose the stability that our parents and grandparents worked for generations to secure. And there's a reason that President Trump's statement is so important and why it demands follow through. It's because we simply cannot do it anymore. We cannot take in the third world anymore, not at this volume, not at this speed, not at this cost, not when our own household is being pushed to the corners of its own living room. The pledge that he gave, the statement that he put on Truth Social, can't be abstract. It can't just be a statement. It can't be rhetorical. It has to be a closed sign hung on the kitchen door that has been abused beyond all recognition. It has to be a full moratorium on the third world migration, not legal or not. That doesn't matter. The bowl needs to be gone. The endless refills need to end, and we're done with it. We can't just sit around and say, just be nice and pay for it. We can't do that anymore. Okay, we just simply can't do it. Further, the comment that he made about denaturalization is equally as important. If America is ever going to regain the control of its household, it's got to start undoing the damage that's been done. We simply cannot absorb millions of people from unstable nations who've entered through questionable claims or wide open parole loops and just pretend that our culture, economy, and social fabric are going to be able to carry that strain. So a responsible nation audits who's let in, who broke the rules, who lied on applications, who abused the system, and yes, who should be removed. Stewardship of our country is not cruelty. It's not. It's just what we need to do. It's the duty of any adult responsible for a home. I mean, that's what you have to do. And America, for the first time in a long time, needs to start acting like a home again. Not a global charity, not a refugee warehouse, not a welfare office for the planet's problems. Biden didn't just welcome in a few extra guests. He emptied half the world's line into America's kitchen, smiled for the cameras, and then handed the American family the check. 5 million people from developing countries legally admitted, while the country's own working class was told to shut up and absorb it, and just welcome the newcomers, fund their benefits, sacrifice their neighborhoods, and then thank the administration for its compassion in bringing in the third world. That era is over. The soup kitchen is closed. Not paused, closed. The bowls need to be put away. The pantry shelves are being reclaimed by the people who filled them and the families who built this country, the American family. It's time we step back into the room and take our rightful seat at the table. That's what needs to happen. There's no real questions about it anymore. The visitors who come here with gratitude and actually desire to become Americans in every real sense of the word, I think they can always find welcome. But the 5 million deep tidal wave of third world dependency that Biden unleashed, that is done. That chapter needs to end now, and it has to. A nation cannot survive as the global pantry for people who neither respect our house nor contribute to its upkeep. So tonight, let's say it plainly, the door is locked, the lights are off, and the United States is no longer the world's soup kitchen. America is closed. And thank God, because it's about time someone started protecting the home that millions of us still love enough to fight for. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being here this evening. This is the Political Theater. If you guys are just now joining me on the X Space, thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot to talk about tonight, so this is the opening for the show. I wanted to make sure we talk about this because this moratorium is the big deal. If he actually follows through with it, which I think he absolutely has to. I don't think there's a real choice. I think he absolutely has to follow through with it. I think this is necessary. This is going to be what the next few months of this country, if we actually follow through with this. I mean, the numbers are staggering, guys. If the numbers are accurate, if it is true that 85% of all of our legal admittance are from the third world, that means if we end it, if we stop legal immigration from the third world, that means we're having 85% reduction in legal immigration in general. That's huge. I mean, that's massive. And that's not even talking about all the other issues from, H-1Bs or any of the other stuff. This is talking about specifically for permanent residents. That's what that is even going over. So, I didn't even know the numbers were as bad as they were until I started really looking into it. But it's devastating, really. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's absolutely devastating that it's gotten this bad. So we've got a lot more to talk about than that, guys, because this statement from Trump, I'm noticing something else. And by the way, at some point here in the near future of the show, I'm going to have, I think Matt Tardio is going to be joining me. We're going to be discussing the Venezuela situation. If you guys are just tuning in, we're going to be talking about what's going on down there. There's a lot to go over on that. I think there's a bit more. I did some numbers and looked into some stuff, and I found some pretty interesting information that I want to talk about. But we'll wait until he joins the show for that. So if you guys want to join the show, you need to go to x.com, go to @WCDispatch, and the space is live, so you can call into the show there. I do have one speaker up now. What's up, Keymaker? How are you?
Hey, Walter, how's everything going? Stressful situation, right? But I'm once again ecstatic about what Trump is doing, what he's saying. I know there's going to be some obstacles. I'm sure that they're not going to just let him simply flip the switch as I believe it should just be simply flipping a switch. But I put out a thread earlier and I was talking about the human capital kind of concept of what you just went into. You went into it a little bit more deep, and I think that's going to be one of my primary focuses for the next couple weeks is talking about this exact thing, these topics that you were just talking about, and how kind of all encompassing and damaging this has been, right? Like for a very long time. So great speech there in the beginning. I loved it. And I'm excited now because, every time I kind of feel like I'm like, are they listening? And then Trump tweets something out or he posts something out and I'm like, oh, they're definitely in tune. They're definitely listening, so it's very heartwarming, right? Like,
it's good. I mean, it's necessary at this point. But the big thing about it that I'm noticing is that it seems to me that there's a pivot happening right now. I think there's a real pivot happening right now. I think that the Trump administration's actually moving in the right direction. And I don't know if this means, my theory on it really is that I think we're going to see a staff shakeup at the White House. I think there's going to be some changes that's happened because this pivot's all encompassing. It's not just like one aspect of it. It's every part of it. I mean, the entire administration seems to have just shifted its tune within the past week or so. And, people may wonder, well, is that because of the Afghan, because of the killing of the National Guardsman, which, by the way, everyone say a prayer for the Beckman family, or how do you say your name? Breckman? I'm not sure how you say your name, but the National Guardsman that was shot and that it did pass away. Make sure you say prayer for that family. I mean, that is horrible. But I don't know if it's just that. I think that the Trump administration or Trump himself is looking around and saying, okay, it's a year in, it's time to change some things. And that's what I think you're seeing now. So I think we're going to see a significant change over the next couple months. And honestly, he has to. If he doesn't, the base is one, they're loyal, but at the same time, they need results. And I think that's what the biggest thing about this is stuff that he can do. And there's the other thing about this is a lot of people don't know this, but the TPS status, the temporary protective status that's going on right now for a bunch of different, groups, the Haitian group, the Venezuelan group, like all these different groups that they have like this special status. They've actually been in court, trying to fight these things and trying to keep them from being ended. And as far as I'm aware, they're actually about to be ended completely now. So that's new. I mean, and I know that the Haitian one, I follow that one pretty closely because of the town I live in. I live in Springfield, Ohio, which has had a massive problem with the Haitian population that's come in here. I think that one is supposed to end within the first month or two of the new year. So I believe the final day on that, when they're supposed to have either, moved on or whatever it's supposed to be, I believe that's on February 3rd. So I'll have to go double check the others, but I know that that is the case for several of these. So that explains to me, I think that's why that's possible that this pivot's happening now from the Trump administration. But I will say that if he actually does end all third world immigration, I mean, that, guys, essentially what that means is that immigration is now closed in the United States. That's what that really means. So if we're doing that, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's a massive change. And this is actually what everyone wants. This is the other part about it. The American people want a actual moratorium on immigration. We don't just want, it's not like, we just want an ending of illegal immigration. No, the polling data shows that American people want less immigration total. It doesn't matter to them, legal or not. So, at this point now, I think it's necessary to do. And we'll see what happens over the next couple months. I want to see follow through. I do. I really, to me, I've heard some people talking about it he's just talking. He's not going to actually do anything. Well, listen, at some point, something has to happen that moves in the direction of the base, because the base is asking for this very specifically. So we'll see if this moves, because if he ends, if all third world immigration, all of it is done, guys, that's 80% reduction in legal immigration as well. So that's not a joke. That's a lot. So we'll see what happens, though.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening here.
Yeah, I think that the way that you phrased it, I looked and I seen the American soup kitchen is closed, and I love it. That's one of the things I love about you is the way that you kind of word things and phrase some of these things. But I was reading your post earlier, and that's exactly what it feels like. It really feels like there's been, and I understand, not all migrants can really be lumped into one category, but I mean, how bad do things have to get before you do exactly what's being talked about now? Shut it down. Start to actually look at denaturalization. There are a lot of people that were naturalized that should not have been naturalized. And they know that, right? Like, these are hard things that have to happen. And I really believe that should be the focus of 2026, is trying to figure out all of these little pieces. It doesn't have to be the only thing the Trump administration does, but I really think they need to throw a lot of effort behind this to try and figure out exactly what was going on. Because I think the more that people are going to start looking at this, depending on where you live at, it's very problematic in some areas and it's not so problematic in other areas. So I think there is a lot of people that don't really have the impact by it. But a lot of people, I think, don't realize how many jobs alone were taken by people that were here illegally. I mean, I don't think they realize it. Like, there's only so many jobs out there. There is only so, you know what I mean? We don't have an unlimited supply of everything.
Well, and that's the deal, right?
Yeah.
And that's what my point is. Like, I mean, it's not just that. It's the social services, all this stuff. Like, Trump was talking about it in his post. And if you guys didn't read his long Thanksgiving post, I recommend you all go read it. I'll put it up on the screen at some point. But the deal is that he's right about what all the social services. Like, if you're coming here from the third world and you have no money and you get accepted in the country, and then we move you all the way into the legal immigration status and give you a permanent resident card, that gives you access to all sorts of social services. Why are we giving people social services? This needs to end, okay? If you're coming to this country, I want you to come to this country and be willing to put in every dollar that you have to get here, and that you want to work every single day, every hour that's open at any job that's available to you. Look, you don't need social services, okay? You're not coming here for our welfare system. Now, if you're here for a number of years and you're here a permanent resident and, you're in some terrible, horrific accident, that's what our social safety net's for, okay? That's a social safety net. But that doesn't mean you show up here, you get permanent residency, and then you just magically get access to our entire welfare network. That's not how this works. That's not what you're here for, okay? You're supposed to add to our society as immigrants. That's what the purpose of it is. That's what the purpose of immigration entirely is. That's the only reason it exists. So, hopefully this changes. But again, talking about the denaturalization process, this is super important, okay? I mean, this is, if Trump's actually going to move forward with the idea of denaturalization, my comment is that you need to go after almost every single version or every single visa that was given underneath the Biden administration and look at it again. I think it's necessary. I think you have to. And this is the reason why. So obviously everyone knows what happened on Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon. The National Guardsmen, they were shot dead in the middle of the street just by an ambush-style attack. But listen to this statement from President Trump. This is in 2021.
And nobody knows who the hell they are, Cheryl. These aren't the interpreters that we talked. These were people that rushed into the planes And they were so interested in trying to make it sound like, oh, they're doing a good job. These people, many of these people are going to be terrorists, okay? They're going to be terrorists. They were very powerful. They were very energetic in getting onto the aircraft.
They say
But
they're
many-
vetting them very carefully with biometrics and documentation.
They're not doing that, and you can't because there is no documentation in that country.
And that's the point. There is no documentation. That's the biggest point. And, you know, I know if you guys were on the show on Wednesday night, this is actually discussed by a couple of us, how the reality is that there is no documentation to be had when you're from Afghanistan. What biometrics? What documents? From what? From who? There is none. Okay, none of this stuff exists. But they decided to try and tell everyone, oh, yeah, we're vetting everybody very carefully. Well, not true. Okay, that's just simply not true. You know, if you want to say that these people were vetted carefully, I disagree, one. But two, you know, there's a bunch of other, you guys go look at what Sarah Adams is talking about. She's talking about how these people are being targeted because the Taliban's figuring out that they were, you know, special operators, and then they're going after their families and then blackmailing them and trying to get them to do things. I mean, this is the worry that you have, guys. This is the scenario the Biden administration put us in. Okay, the Biden administration put us in a very dangerous scenario. All of these people need to get out of here. I mean, I don't care. You know, there might be some that are good people that are, you know, that you can work with that have been here a long time or something like that. But I think underneath the past 4 years, no. Okay, if you came into the past 4 years from Afghanistan, time to go back. Okay, I mean, and you know, it sounds cruel and terrible, but guys, how many guardsmen do you want shot? How many attacks did you want across the country? How do you vet the people? There is no way to do it. There's no way to do it humanely or some, you know, very specific way. Oh, this person's, you know, very, very involved. Like, I don't know. Like, unless you're going to assign security details to these people and check them out all the time and follow them everywhere, that sounds like a terrible idea. Let's not do that. So, you know, this is just how it has to be. There can't really be another option. We just need to get a hold of this stuff. We have to do it. There's not really another choice. So, you know, hopefully we start to see some movement on this, because at this point, the people saying that, you know, we whether or not we need more legal immigrants into the country or not, I disagree entirely with that. I think there's too many here anyway. Okay, I think there's just too many illegal immigrants in the country, and the country is bucking underneath the amount of people that are coming into this country. It's just true. Okay, that's just true. So, you know, hopefully we manage to actually have a moratorium on this. And President Trump on this, my comment on this specifically is that I think he has to follow through this time on this. This can't be just a rhetorical statement. It needs to be done. It needs to be done. We need to get these people out of the country. We need less immigrants total. Okay. Everyone thinks there's a statement from, I think Miller, and I've got this clip as well. Miller was talking about this, that apparently 40% of the people in rent-based households across the country right now are from immigrants. I mean, that's terrible. I mean, where do you think the housing cost problems are coming from? That's exactly where they're coming from. If there's that many people, that's insane that it's that high. So I'll put this up on the screen here and play this real quick so we can listen to this.
40% of rent-controlled properties are being lived in by people who weren't even born in the country? What kind of system is this? We bring in people from foreign countries, and then we pay to lower the cost of their housing, while people who were born here have to pay higher prices.
And that's the point. That's exactly what I was getting into at the beginning of the show, is that, you know, we cannot give things to the illegal immigrant population or even legal. It doesn't matter. Illegal or legal, it doesn't matter. Okay? American citizens come first. Okay? I don't care if you want to come here and you want to live in some house and you want to work here and whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't care. You don't get special treatment just because you're an immigrant to the country. Okay? That's just not how this works. It's not how it ever should have worked. It's not how it is ever going to work ever again, and as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, this is the point. This is the stuff that has to change. Okay, it absolutely must change. And if you imagine that, if you removed 40% of the people from rent control, okay, right? Remove 40%. What does that do to rent? It drops rent costs. Of course it does. I mean, in my town alone, okay, and I've talked about this before. My city alone, it used to cost about $500 or $600 a month to rent a 3-bedroom house. It is now $1,500 a month minimum. Okay, $1,500 a month. Why is that? Because they've staffed all these places with immigrants. The entire city's been overrun with these people. I mean, it sounds, oh my God, it's so bad. Like, no, I don't care. Okay, what about the people who live here? The housing, our wages didn't increase. Okay, you built factories in the Midwest, And then the Midwest, as you brought the factories online, then you brought in people to staff them. What the hell is that? So you didn't get, the Americans didn't get the wages, and then you also increased the costs. That's what happened. I mean, that's why people are pissed. You wonder why people are talking about affordability all the time. That's why. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you know, it's very important. Like the economics are sound, right? Like we understand economics here. I don't know, I don't know if people are just confused about this, but when you have more demand, the prices are going to go up. And when you have 50, I think they just posted something says there's like 50 something million people, kind of like the number that you were talking about. And it's like, I always thought it was around the 20 to 30 million, right?
Well, I mean,
And
the legal
yeah.
visas, so legal visa holders, right? So legal permanent residents, there's 50 million of them. Okay, that's a number that they've released. Okay, but that's not talking about the illegals. The illegals is another 50 million. Okay, this is what people are understanding. Okay, there is a significant portion of the population that is foreign born. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, we have to solve this problem. That's what the denaturalization process. If that has to happen, that has to happen. It's not a joke. It's something we have to do. It's not something we can play around with. It has to happen. Okay, I mean, you have to get people out of the country. You have to make it. And the other way that you do this, by the way, and this is something that should have been done a long time ago, but all of the people that are here under permanent status, okay, you have to severely limit what kind of social services they can have access to. Okay, if you severely limit that, these people will leave on their own. Okay, if they're just here to soak up the welfare system, they got to go. It's time for them to leave. I mean, we don't need people here just so they can collect, EBT money. Okay, we don't need people here just so they can get, cheaper housing. They can get Section 8 housing. No. Okay, if Section 8 housing is for American citizens, that's it. That's it. If you're not born here and you're a permanent resident or whatever the hell it may be, time to go home. If that's the only reason you're here, if you cut that off and that makes it so you can't live here, then you shouldn't have moved here. Time to go home. I mean, this is the deal. And we need to stop playing around with it, because the reality is, if you remove a lot of these people, it does solve a lot of problems. Now, it's not as easy as everyone makes it out to be, though. I mean, if you get rid of lots and lots of people, it will hurt the economy. There is a push and pull here. Okay, I mean, if you remove mass quantities of people, that does hurt the local economies, guys. It's not going to be so simple, but the reality is, the more you remove, and I've been arguing that this is the reason you want self-deportation above everything else. If you remove via self-deportation, these people slowly filter themselves out of the country, then the local economies, as those people leave, it allows the local economy to adjust as it moves. That's what you want, really. That's what you really do want. So you want it to slowly adjust on its own. That's why you get a lot more people. That's just the better way to do it. So hopefully we see a lot more of this. And if you actually start removing all of the temporary protective status, which is coming up for a lot of these people, I think you're going to see a large portion of these people just leave. Okay? The one worry that I had when the Trump administration came in was that if they just cut off all of the TPS money, okay, the people that are the Haitian migrants, for example, okay, let me explain to you what the Haitian migrants get around here, okay? Haitian migrants get about $1,400 a month. They get free rent. They get a house. They get all of this stuff for free. What happens when you cut that off? Do they leave, or do they become criminals? You answer the question yourself. I don't know, which is why I was so worried about it. I was worried that they were going to cut the money off and then I was going to have 30,000 criminals in my city overnight. That's a real concern for me. So you got to come up with some way to do it. And I think what the Trump administration has been doing, their intention is that they want to try and just make sure that everybody thinks that if you're here illegally, you may be thrown into a snake pit at any moment. So I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, Walter. So they were saying, and I'm pretty sure this is how it still stands. And I know it was $1,000 plus like a free airline ticket if you self-deport, which is cost effective for us. It actually helps them a little bit too. But I think they're talking about now doubling it, and I think maybe possibly up to 2,500, right? Because if people are just gonna take the flight and get out of here, that helps, that kind of helps with their operations. A lot of people have actually taken that. I don't know if they're going to release like the number, but there's been a lot of people that have taken that money and then just went, they'll just go back home. Now, if you do that, you get a chance to actually come back. A lot of these people are not going to get a chance. They're going to be permanently barred from the visa applications and stuff. So that was my understanding of it.
Well, it's necessary. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. If you're only here so you can get access to our social programs, it's time to leave. I mean, I don't care anymore. You look at what's happening to American citizens across the country. You look at the cost of housing. You look at the cost of everything. Of course, if you add in so many millions of extra people, and this is why it's so like the numbers that I looked at, okay, the 5 million from the third world coming in underneath the Biden administration, that's legal immigrants, okay? So that is by the numbers. That's from DHS's own official numbers coming in, okay? That number, you have to think that that's also been going on from every other administration. The legal immigration hasn't been tamped down by any administration in, 2 decades, 3 decades. So, this is a huge problem. There are millions of people that have just flooded into this country, and we've never had anybody that's ever said we want less legal immigration. If you pause from the third world, that is a massive hit to legal immigration. Massive. Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are going to be like, well, the courts will immediately stop it. But look, I'm telling you right now that the TPS stuff is in court already. Okay, the in-court version of that has happened currently. So these things are about to end. I know a lot of them are. So that's why I think Trump is pivoting on this right now. But the other side of this is that, I think the Trump administration, Trump knows that we have to pivot currently because people are just getting annoyed that things aren't moving fast enough. And this is something that they can do. Okay, this is something that it's not illegal for them to actually change immigration policy. They can move on this stuff. They can change this stuff. They can limit who comes in, who goes out. This is why it needs to happen. So, I think this is going to be the next move. Now, to me, I'm watching people look around. I'm looking around what Trump's doing. And I'm seeing that, like I said at the beginning of this rant here, that, I think we're about to see some sort of shakeup in staffing. And I think that might happen soon. Now, I don't know who it is, but I'll tell you right now, it seems to me, if you guys notice, there's like, when a lot of smoke starts billowing up from when there's a bunch of fake stories that come out from the mainstream press, or there's a lot of, a lot of noise, a lot of, big information coming out that none of it seems true and it's all questionable. That happens a lot around the Trump administration when something is about to change. And then Trump comes out and says, I'm ending all third world immigration. That's a big change. So, we'll see what the next step of this is. But to me, I think it's the only thing we can do. We have to do it. There's no real question about it. It needs to be done. It absolutely must be done. Okay, guys, if you'd like to join the show, this is the Political Theater. This is a weeknight show, weeknights at 9. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. You guys are welcome to join the show and request to come up here. So you go to x.com, go to @WCDispatch, and you can actually join the show and request to come up and talk. You guys are welcome to ask any questions you'd like, any comments you would like to make. You're welcome to do so. I've got one more request coming up currently from, I don't know, a new speaker I've never heard of before, but you are welcome to speak. And unless you're retarded, then I'll throw you off the stage. Which, by the way, I do enjoy. Did you guys see that, Trump also in the midst of this rant, ending third world immigration, that he also called Governor Tim Walz seriously retarded? Fantastic stuff, people. I mean, just come on. For good measure, we're in the middle of ending one of the most dangerous things in our country, the massive wave of immigration. And just for good measure, throw in that Governor Walz is seriously retarded. Love it. Man, that's full Trump right there, people. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was cracking up, but I was thinking, Minnesota is a good example, I think, of like how damaging this stuff can actually be, because it's like, okay, from the government perspective, from the governor and from the state and the county level, maybe having people come in and collecting federal benefits and then spending money at local stores and the kind of the tax revenue and the economics, it seems legit. Like, it sounds like it's going to be okay. Once they start like committing crimes and they're getting arrested and then they're getting locked up, that now completely topples, right? So if you have even a small percentage of the immigrants that are coming in committing crimes, it completely disfavors, like 10x, 20x of, that immigration influx that you're having, if it is beneficial, right? If there even is any economics that claim that it's beneficial, which I see what you were saying earlier too about the economics. It is, and I think it'll cause a little bit of instability at first as people kind of drift out and as things kind of stabilize. But I think eventually we will see prices go down. And one of the reasons right now that a lot of your food prices are high are because there's a lot of people that are purchasing your food. How are they purchasing it? They're purchasing it with benefits, right? Like with these SNAP programs and stuff. And I know they cut that out, but
listen to me. I know this is the case. And by the way, I have another question here. There's someone saying, isn't it normal for an administration to have a change up in staff? Yes, it is normal. Usually the Trump administration, if you guys looked at term one, he filtered out, a bazillion people by year one. So, I'm not expecting people to stick around, all of the people from the Trump administration. That's not going to happen. But to what you were just talking about, Keymaker, yes, the amount of people, especially immigrants, that are buying stuff with benefits, one of the things that they did out in my town. So this is in Springfield, Ohio, where the Haitian population exploded over the past few years. Went from about 1,000 to 30,000 in 4 years. One of the things that I noticed is really interesting. The Walmart started offering everybody in the area delivery groceries. And, as a result, almost everyone did it. It was like free, so they just did it anyway. And why did they do that? Well, I went to Walmart during this time period, and the entire store is full of Haitians with grocery carts piled to the brim, baby. I mean, just stacked with just everything you can think of. Every single time you go to Walmart, there'll be 400 of these people, and their entire grocery cart is packed from the bottom of it. It's falling out all over the place. It is just a catastrophe. This was happening every single day. Every single day. You could go there at any time during the day. And there was 200 Haitians in the local Walmart with absolutely overflowing grocery carts. And how were they paying for it? They were paying with government benefits. That was what was going on. So, that stuff, that has to end. Okay, we can't just keep paying for people's food. We can't keep paying for people to live here. I don't care that Haiti is a shithole country. Doesn't mean anything to me. Sucks. Sorry, your country sucks. Get out. Okay, I've got a new speaker up here on stage. What is up, Cannabis Sativa?
Hey, thanks, Walter. Listen to you all the time. Quick question, and I know you know a little bit about this, but it's frustrating to me that the Trump administration is not mandating E-Verify. It works, right? I've used it before. That should be executive order written next week. And number two, same apply E-Verify to landlords and people renting houses. That then chokes off more opportunities for jobs for these people, and it chokes off housing availability. And I'll drop down, Walter, and listen. Thank you.
Thanks, Cannabis. Yeah, I mean, the E-Verify is a good system. It's not a perfect system, but it is a good system, and it should be used. It should be used. It should be used in every state. Now, I think it's per state how that's actually worked out. That's why it's not something that can be done with executive order. Maybe it can be done with executive order. I'm not sure. I think it's actually a state thing. So I'd have to look into the details on how that could be implemented across the country. But I agree, there should be something. I mean, there should be something set up like that. It has to be. In my eyes, there's no way that all of these people are here legally. If their visas expire, there needs to be an updating of the system, really. Like, if your visa expires and you go to apply for a job, you can't get the job. That's how that should work. I mean, and I don't know how you actually implement those systems. A lot of people talk about Palantir, but that's something that Palantir would actually be able to do. So maybe that'd be a good thing for them. Okay, I've got another speaker up here. What is up, Jinx? I guess your name is Jinx. I can't really tell with the symbol in front of your name. What's up?
Oh, it's Lynx.
Oh, what's up, Lynx?
Lynx, thanks for having me. Yeah, so it looks like a strategy called Cloward Piven strategy. Have you heard?
Yeah, I think I've read about this in some post at some point before, but go ahead.
Okay, 1960s, sociologists said that if you overload a welfare safety net system program with recipients, then you could restructure the entire thing, saying it's not efficient. It just seems like usher in the age of digital, like how China is how they're gonna restructure us, roll out the. Anyway, that's what it looks like to me.
Okay, well, I mean that's an interesting theory. I've heard about some of these theories and stuff like that that's existed for a long time. What I really think has happened is complete incompetence and corruption from companies that want to have cheap labor. That's what I really think has happened. They don't care what the result is; they just want cheap labor. So they want to bring in more immigrants to have cheap labor because that's something that has existed. That's why no one ever wants to touch ever wants to touch legal immigration. Oh, you can't talk about legal immigration. We want more people. But what are you talking about? Oh, keep bringing them in. No. Okay. We need less people. Less people is good. Okay. If that means you have to pay American workers more, yeah, you do. Oh, no. How dare you pay American workers a better wage? The God forbid you actually pay for American families to have their own, actually have a living wage in this country. This is the amazing thing. When you hear the left talk about this, they're like, well, who's going to pick the strawberries? Like, oh my God, figure it out. I don't care who picks the friggin' strawberries. I mean, it's the most obnoxious thing in the world. It's also the most racist thing in the world. It's like, you hear these people like, who's going to clean your houses and who's going to pick my strawberries? Like, do you hear yourself? They don't even notice, though. They don't even notice. They don't talk about it. No, I have no idea. What do you mean? I mean, there was even a Democrat congresswoman somewhere up in the Northeast. I think it was in Vermont. And she said, well, sooner or later here, guys, no one will even be here to wipe our own asses. I'm like, wow. That explains a whole lot. That explains a hell of a lot.
I thought it was a joke too, but when they posted it and I seen the video, I was like, "What? Like, does she even realize what she just said?" But that's the mindset. I think you touch on this all the time, right? But they don't live in the same reality that we do. I don't want to say that it's just all Democrats because I don't believe 100% of them really think that way. But there is a large portion where they don't even get. They don't even get that they're the ones that are actually racist, right? Like while they're sitting here telling, the right that we're racist because we want to,
Listen,
we want to empower the individual, and
listen,
get
it's
them,
the same thing.
working.
It's the same thing when you hear them talk about voter ID. Okay, like you hear them talk about voter ID, they're like, "Well, what about the poor black people that can't use the internet?" And you're like, "What? Like, what'd you say? You're like, what about? But why can't they use the internet? Well, they're not smart enough." Like, oh, okay. It's interesting. Interesting comment there. So why aren't they smart enough? Like, well, they just live in low-income houses. It's very difficult for them to understand how the world works. Like, okay. So it sounds to me like you think black people are stupid. That's what it sounds like to me. But, they don't even think about that. They're like, oh, no, it's racist. Racist for you to want voter ID for, India, the country of India has the ability to do voter ID for their entire population, and they have no problem with it. Why can't we do this? Okay, they have literally a 1 billion person population. It's the largest population in the whole world now, and they can figure it out. I think we can figure it out. I mean, it's amazing.
They
to
can
me.
give everybody an EBT card, but they can't figure out a way to
well, but listen, if
slap
you
a
give them
picture on
EBT,
it and verify an identity.
well, but if you give them EBT, then they vote for Democrats. Don't you understand? That's the benefit there. I mean, I'm not joking, guys. I've said this many times. Okay, the Biden administration was a criminal enterprise that was designed to import voters and pay them to vote for Democrats. That's what it was for. That's what it was doing. That was the whole purpose of it. That's why they did everything they did. That's exactly who they were. And Henry, you have joined the stage. What is up, Henry?
Sir, how are you?
I'm
Happy
doing just
Thanksgiving,
fine. It's
man.
been a minute.
Good. Yeah, it has, man. Yeah, and dude, so just to follow up. So I have something that I've been kind of thinking about for a while, and perhaps you've discussed it. So I apologize. CTF, good to see you. The question I had was basically around: do you think part of the concern with the immigration, like not the immediate one, because as you said, and the Biden administration was so corrupt and an illegal operation, essentially. I think the same of the Democrat Party, actually, that they're they're a domestic terrorist organization. I mean that literally, but. Do you think one of the second or third effects is that it's going to force everybody to look at the education system? Because if we can't get these quote unquote cheap, or as we hear some of even our own say, well, smarter folks from out of the country, it's going to like put the eye in the gaze. And I'm a software engineer, so this is right over the middle of the plate. I'm one of those in one of those fields. The interesting thing though is I think we have plenty of talent and willingness to do even on the tier that I'm at, which requires a certain level of training and so forth, or even the strawberry pickers, whatever. The thing is like when it comes to some of these other like mid or higher end jobs, our education system, it's going to shine a light on K through 12 and higher ed, which is in total fucking disarray.
Well,
And
so here's something. Here's something a lot of people don't talk about. Okay, so here's something you probably don't know. If you take the crosstabs on the higher education or our education system numbers and reduce all of the numbers from third world people that have been imported into this country, what do you think that does to our statistics of our numbers across the country?
So explain to me when you say the crosstabs, because obviously I took
Crosstabs would be who exactly is testing badly. That's what I mean.
Okay,
If you take those numbers,
below a certain,
if you take those numbers and you take all of the immigrants that are in here that don't speak English and they all fail because they don't speak English, it turns out that our education system is significantly better than you think it is. And a lot of people don't know that. That's a true thing. If you remove, and also if you remove a lot of these people, like for instance, in Springfield High, there's the local high school in my city. Okay, they used to have 90 Haitian immigrants. Okay, that had kids there. 90. Now they have 1,200. Okay, so what does that do? Haitians speak Creole. How do you translate Creole for people that speak Creole into English?
Yeah, I just some Christian family friends of mine. I'm going to be real brief with this and hand you back to you. They adopted two young Haitian girls. And dude, the one girl, she's a senior now. The other girl's out of the house. The one girl's a senior now, bro. She took what is it called? The AFSMAT, the military test, because she has no prospects whatsoever. IQ is on the floor, dude. She got a 3, so they retook it. They had her retake it. She got a 2 out of 99. For people in the room that don't know about this test, it's not the ACT, it's not the SAT, but it can be used for college, for other things, and it's for the military as well. Bro, you're absolutely right. Like it lowers, it drags everything down, and it's a harsh reality, because like on one hand you say, well, how do you solve this problem? And then I agree with you. On the other hand, it's not our problem to solve. Send them back. Not
Yep.
everybody is meant to like coexist in the same land. It's just not possible.
Well,
It's
I
just
mean, you
not
just
possible.
can't immigrate people that don't have any culture, don't have any education, have no backing at all, and then expect everything to just work. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. I
100%,
mean,
bro.
it's just not possible. Okay, I've got another speaker here. What's up, Dar Mama?
Oh, hi.
How
Hi,
are
good
you?
evening, everyone.
I can hear you.
Great. Yeah, Soup Kitchen. I like that title, and I do like what you're talking about. Uh, well, I was going to say a couple things, but about the schools, one of the things I think one of the problems is that they want to do inclusion, so they aren't running separate. You were talking about this, the kids, American kids, that they're doing better than we think, but they could do so much better than they're doing. But they're because they have to have, they're they have this thing of inclusion, and maybe it helps the migrant kids learn English
Well, and that's
faster,
the
but
point.
it
And
drags everyone else down.
that's the point, really. I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, if you just have bazillions of immigrants in the country, they don't even speak English, and you have to accommodate them. No matter what you do, it all has a cost. Okay, so it all has a cost. Every time you immigrate people into the country that don't speak any English, and then try to make it so that your curriculum can help them, it still has a cost. Teachers have to spend extra time trying to help those students rather than helping the American students. That's the problem. Okay, so I mean, if you remove these people and actually get these people out, this has a massive net benefit for the country in many, many different ways. It's not the cure all. Okay, it's not like it fixes all of our problems, but it definitely helps. It definitely friggin' helps. And that's the biggest way to look at this. Guys, by the way, if you're trying to join the show, you can do so now. You just have to go to x.com, go to @WCDispatch, and you can request to join the show. If you're on any of the other streams, you're welcome to do that. That's the only way you can call into the show. But I do read the comments, guys. So if you're commenting in all the different streams, I do read those. If you're on the if you're on the Substack stream, I can read those comments on all those stuff. So you guys are welcome to make comments below. Make sure you guys share the link on the X space so more people know that we're in here. And you can always put something down below. I do read those as well. But go, Darmam, if you had something else to say, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, thank you. And then about the labor costs, which is certainly real, but it's a lot more than just what you're paying for the hourly rate. There's taxes, in some cases there's benefits and everything else, but there's unions you have to deal with, all this stuff. So I was just thinking, all these great liberal policies, the chickens eventually come home to roost. I mean, and it kind of just took longer, but then it just takes a little longer before you actually notice it, because we have a very large economy. But, I'm reminded of what happened in 2020 with this whole thing about living wage. It started before 2020, but, when they started, raising the minimum wage, like in some states, like California, what is it, $20 an hour now? So now you're seeing McDonald's switching over to robotics. I mean, that was so predictable because they already had some robots going. I mean, robots don't give you any grief. And actually, for that matter, migrants don't come here and demand.
Listen. The demand, all the demand and everything. The problems with the raising the minimum wage is it doesn't actually help anything. That's the stupid thing about minimum wage is it doesn't help anything at all. Okay, it's not a useful system. The idea that if when every now and then the Democrats bring up the idea, let's raise the national minimum wage and we're going to raise it up to $20 an hour. It's like, well, okay, that's retarded. Okay, in Mississippi, the average medium wage is $14 an hour. Okay, so if you increase the nationwide minimum wage, all of the people that are making median wages now just double. It's gone up $5, $6 in Mississippi. Okay, so that's. What do you think that does to the economy? It doesn't make everything better. It makes everything gets more expensive overnight. That's what that does. So, I mean, it's just a huge problem. So, I mean, the immigration problem, though, where the immigrants that are getting paid significantly less, and they do get paid less. I don't care what anybody says. I know they get paid less. Okay, the factory workers, they pay them less. They give them longer hours and pay them less, and that's because they don't want to pay the American workers, because the American workers expect to be treated correctly. And the reason they do that is because the immigrants don't know their rights. They don't know their workers' rights. They don't know how they're supposed to be treated. They don't know how their wages are supposed to be set up. They just work for whatever. And half these people, they'll stick them in a house that have 30 people living in it anyway, and then the government gives them a ton of money. So, it's not like this is a good system at all. And it's obviously strained us out of, it's completely out of control. And everybody knows it. So, that's why we're talking about it tonight. So go ahead, Keymaker.
Yeah, I think that one of the things you touched on before was the remittance stuff, right? Like I didn't realize how much money is actually going out of this country, never to be seen again. I don't mean just from like products that we buy in economics and business, but a lot of the people that come here, they're sending a lot of their money back to where they came from, friends, family, whoever. And some of them do eventually go back. And I guess that makes sense, right, in some respects, but I think you mentioned something about remittance payments before. I don't know, maybe not stopping them entirely, but maybe there should be a fee.
You should tax them.
Because
tax the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I think you need to end them. To be honest with you, I would say end them entirely. But if you're not going to do that, then tax them by 80%. Okay, you can only send 20% out of the country. We get the rest. That's the way I would say it.
Well, can you unpack that a little bit? Because I've heard about this remittance issue, and I heard that we don't really clamp down like we should. Why do we, just in a nutshell, and I'm not arguing for or against, why do we have rules about that, and why is it such a concern that this keeps happening? Because we hear about this with like Hispanics, for example.
Well, it sucks money out of the economy. Okay, so like in a remittance, what the remittance is, okay, for those who aren't aware what a remittance is, it's when you're working in the States and then you send that money that you make, instead of keeping it in your bank account or spending in the local economy, you send that money back home to your home country. Okay, so and we don't even manage that. We don't care about it. We just let it happen. Okay, so that means millions of dollars of people that work here is sent out of the country and it's not put back into our economy. Okay, so these people are willing to live, they'll live 25 people to a house, and then they'll send all of the money they make in wages, they send back to their families back home because it goes further back home. So their families back home are doing great, even though the local economy, all they're doing is just someone's just taking a job and then not spending that money in the local economy. You understand the problem with that?
Of course, that makes perfect sense, and I appreciate you explaining it. If I understood it to be that simple. So this is already illegal in the United States, correct? In
No.
many other
No, it's not illegal here. Happens all the time. Happens on a massive scale all across the country. It's one of the biggest problems we have. I mean, this is, that just means you've got people soaking up jobs, and then that money is not spent in the American economy. It's sent to, Haiti. Yippee. Cool. I don't care what happens in Haiti. I mean, like, I just don't care. And at this point, you either need to end remittances or make it so that they're heavily taxed if they're sent out of here. And that'll solve a lot of your problems because then these people won't work here. The only reason they're here is because they're economic migrants. Okay, that's what people do. Like, 100%. Economic migrants is the biggest problem we have. Okay, people that are here because their countries suck. Their countries are shitholes and they have no money and no jobs. So they come here to work here and then they send money back to their families back home. That's why they come here. That's what the economic migrants are.
Yeah, and that's why I hate that they've destroyed the word asylum, right? Like asylum used to mean something. It used to be, that there was actually like a threat back home. But now I don't know if it was you, Walter. I think you've even mentioned this before. But some of these guys, they'll come here on asylum, right? So they're so terrified of where they came from, they have to come here, and then they get a job and they're living here, and then they go on vacation back to the place where they're worried about their. Yeah, that's why.
Regular basis. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with the asylum claims. Okay. The entire asylum system is broken, and it's because they just changed it. They stopped making it restrictive. I mean, go look, and that's not even the bigger numbers right now are actually from the humanitarian thing that we did. That was from the Biden administration. That's the 1.3 million that I talked about in the open of the show. 1.3 million people that were, set up in this system. I mean, that's crazy. That's terrible. Okay, we don't need that. Okay, we don't need 1.3 million now. The idea is like 650,000 of those people are from Ukrainians, okay? Why did we take in 650,000 Ukrainians? Why didn't Europe take them? What's wrong with Europe having the Ukrainians? Exactly. They're right there. They're right next door. Go there.
Yeah. Help them stay in their own country. And why don't we help? Well, we have no obligation. Why isn't Europe helping? Why? There's so many other solutions, but the whole thing is to always create victims, bring them here, and then create voters, and that's it, and drain the hell out of the system. And actually, to link what Lynx was saying before, the the Clover Piven, I think she mispronounced it, but like, Walt, I think that's one of many vectors where all of this destabilization within the country is happening. It goes back to those old Marxist games of just whether it's crime, whether it's fake protests to tax resources, and that's kind of what Lynx was talking about. These are all different vectors to just screw with society in general. and turn the people into, cry out to the government for a solution so they can flip the system. I mean, I don't know if you buy into that, but that's kind of.
Well, I mean, that's the
where all this is
Marxist
going.
goal always. Okay, the Marxist goal is that they want to destabilize any country because the intention is to revolutionize the country and move it towards communism because that solves everybody's problems. Apparently, just everybody in the this is the funniest thing I've ever heard people talk about is, we need to seize the means of production. Only a certain amount of people have this and a certain amount of people have in the country have any of that. It's like, well, okay, so who owns the means of production, right? Well, how many people in the American culture, how many Americans invest in the stock market? I think it's like 62% or something like that. Okay, so then 62% of the country owns the means of production. Now, you don't own the private industry, but private industry aren't anything compared to these large businesses. I mean, they're nothing in comparison to these massive conglomerate companies.
Remember 25 years ago, 30 years? I mean, it was, I don't know how old you are, I apologize. But they used to be something like, 55-60% of all business in the United States was small business. It's inverted now. It's even more than that.
Well, and that's because we've regulated small business nearly out of existence, okay? Like it's very difficult to run a small business now because, one, so just for an example here, healthcare cost is about 5% of the revenue of every company now. Okay, so there goes 5% out of your bottom line because you have to pay for healthcare cost, and that keeps going up. I mean, that just rises all the time. It doesn't go down, never goes down because Obamacare made it so that employers have to provide healthcare essentially. So even if they match the employee by a certain percentage, it's still about 5% of the company. So 5% of the revenue of small businesses now go into that. So that took out 5% of revenue. That kills a bunch of small businesses overnight. That's something that they've just continued to grow and grow and grow, and it's only getting more expensive. Okay, I got another speaker up here on stage. What's up, Philly? Philly? Going once. Going twice. Okay, no Philly. All right, anyway. So anyway, guys, you share this space out. If you guys want to come up in here and join the show, you're welcome to do so. At some point here in the near future, I'm not sure if Matt Tardio is joining me or not. We're going to be discussing the Venezuela situation. I've got a lot to talk about on that. I've got some theories to go on with that, but I've got a hand up here. So what's up, Paul?
Hey, Walter, just wanted to say hi. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I agree with a lot of what's being said. It just drives me crazy to see how much damage the Biden administration inflicted on the country, although Obama did a lot to start this. So there's a lot of blame to go around. One thing you mentioned that they could act on immediately, and I think they already are, is, Trump can do whatever he can to bring industry to the country, back to our country. But if we have to crack down on these employers that are hiring illegals. I think you remember just recently it was a battery factory. I forget what state it was in, where they went in and arrested like 200 or 250 employees that were I forget from what country.
I think it was Georgia. And Georgia was where the plant was, and I'm not sure where they were all from, but yeah, I mean, I heard about that. But the deal is that there needs to be penalties. Okay, we have to start instilling some penalties on these people. It's necessary. I mean, companies that hire nothing but illegals, you know what you're doing. Okay, like you don't just accidentally hire 200 illegal immigrants. Okay, you didn't just accidentally did that. Sounds to me like you just committed fraud. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, if your company can't do this, then that's not good. So we need to go after those people. There's a whole other issue with that, though. I mean, depends on the company. I mean, do you want the company to go out of business? I don't know if that's good either. I mean, it's difficult to say. But I would say that if you do that, then you're owed whatever the fraud aspect of that, just because you're probably paying them under the table if they're illegal. So if you're paying them under the table, that is tax fraud. So you probably are going to go out of business anyway. So, I mean, I don't know exactly, but.
Yeah, and the other issue you mentioned that is much more of a problem than people realize that you pointed out is, we have a housing problem and a rental problem with exorbitant rental fees. But when you look at how many illegals and people that aren't even Americans are living in these houses and apartments and condos, it's amazing. And something has to be done about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, that's someone was talking about it a few minutes ago, the idea of doing E-Verify for all, for rental properties and stuff like that. I think that'd be a good idea. I think that's a good idea. Make it so that you can't buy things, you can't rent things, unless you're here legally. I don't see any problem with that at all. Okay, make it as difficult as possible. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, but
I always thought that's how it was in the first place.
well,
You know,
you forget one problem, Walter. I live in Montgomery County, Maryland. Hell, they promote the kind of stuff around here.
Right. I mean,
It's actively promoted in the county where I live.
well, that's because the Democrats want more voters. That's what is going on there. I mean, that's the deal. More voters for Democrats is more illegal immigrants. That's what it really comes down to. Okay, Darmama, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Goodness gracious! Now you go so fast. We switch that I can't remember my original comment, but just what I think Paul was saying. You were talking about illegal workers. I think they were from India, actually, the ones in Georgia. But I wanted to know what you thought about Trump's plan to allow when these foreign businesses, come here to build, the batteries, lithium batteries, whatever it is. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Trump said, they're going to let people come in here and train them, and so that and I want to know if you trust that program. Like, I'm thinking, it sounds good, but who's going to enforce any of this? I mean, visa violations, I guess it's just overwhelming to the government,
Well,
anyway,
and what you're talking about is
the
the H-1B program for bringing in workers. Now, personally on this, I think that Trump is wrong on that. I think that the idea that we need to train people to be manufacturing because we just haven't had them or something like that, I just disagree with it entirely. I think if you give Americans the opportunity, that you'll be able to figure out that they're really good at manufacturing because it's been here. The jobs haven't existed. Okay, you want to look at what happens when companies come in and try to bring in places into manufacturing areas. Go look what the Japanese did. Okay, go look at what Toyota and Honda did. Toyota and Honda came into Ohio. They built factories. They trained the workers. They did everything. They didn't bring them all in under H-1Bs. They train American workers. Okay, they hire. They've got 20 or 30,000 American jobs out here in Ohio working for Honda and Toyota. They can build and manufacture just fine. They're some of the best manufacturing groups in the entire planet. Okay, so I disagree entirely with the concept that we need to bring in foreign workers. Now, if you need to bring in small teams to train each of these groups and each of these individuals, I guess that makes sense. But my thought on it entirely is give Americans the opportunity to prove that they can do it. There's no reason to bring in foreign workers for it, okay? I just disagree entirely. If you got to bring in a special team that is designed to train people very quickly and you only need a couple hundred of them or something like that, but you don't need tens of thousands of them to come in and train American workers. I disagree with that concept. I disagree with that entirely. If you want to build in our country, you should hire American workers and train them up and do all of that. And I think you give them tax breaks to be able to build the companies here. Do whatever you got to do, but you don't need to bring in tens of thousands of people with you while you're doing it. We just don't need that. It's just something I just disagree with entirely with the concept, because I think this whole concept that, well, we don't have anybody that can do these jobs. Like, well, how do you know that? Okay. The Midwest used to be the manufacturing hub of the planet, and then you killed it because you shipped all the jobs overseas. I bet you if you start letting people manufacture again, they might actually be good at it. Just a thought. Go ahead, Paul. Paul?
I don't have my hand raised. It's another one of those problems. You see it and it's not there.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I think I know what she's talking about with the factory. I think they do plan on bringing in teams and then training workers that are here. I don't think that one's the H-1B one, but it is a battery factory. That's the way that I understood it. I can look into it a little bit deeper, but I think you're right. I think that if these companies were kind of, I don't want to say forced, because I hate to force anybody to do anything, especially when government has to force them to do it. It doesn't always work out. But I think that a lot of these companies have just simply given up on the idea that maybe you'll have to train somebody and maybe it will be a little bit less efficient than what you originally wanted hiring an H-1B at, 45% or 65% of the cost that the American employee would be. But I really think that there are people here, they can be trained. And I think that there needs to be like some sort of outreach program, because I what I've noticed is that when I was doing this, when I was actually, helping some companies, a lot of times people are, they're able, they're willing, they have transportation, they can get there and they can get trained, right? But a lot of people, they're nervous, and they're a lot of times now, because of the economy and the way that jobs are going, they're applying for jobs that they really don't even want to do in the first place. So I think that there really does need to be like a focus on like working with your hands. Like, I don't know how to explain it to people. If you work with your hands in this world, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to feed yourself and your family.
There's something that, on Wednesday, the monologue that I had actually planned out for Wednesday, I was actually going to talk about the severe lack we have in this country of people working in tech fields, in hands-on labor type jobs. That was something that I really wanted to, talk about, and I was going to discuss it at length because someone was talking about it with me. The reality is that if you go look at the numbers, guys, the numbers show that the college graduates don't make crap compared to people that are working in, the tech fields and the trade fields and everything like that. If you remove STEM, so you remove STEM from it, all those people making with English degrees, they're getting out. Like people making HVAC jobs are doing way better than they are. Okay, those jobs are booming. Same with any of the tech fields. And like there's 1 million technicians short across the country right now. So I tell everybody, don't go to college, go to tech. Go into any trade. That's the better solution right now. I mean, it's a field that is desperate for people, and all you have to do to stand out is show up. My goodness, it's so difficult. Like, just actually show up every day. Now, if you want to claim that you're not going to show up every day, that's your damn problem. But there is opportunity if you wanted to go move into a different field. If you're not making any money, go into a different field. Like if you graduate from college with your English degree and you can't get a job and you're working at Starbucks, you're much better off going and getting a real job, going into a tech field, even if you got to be paid low to start out. Okay, if you start out as an apprentice, you're not going to make any money for the first couple years, but by the time you get to 5 or 6 years into it, you're going to be making way more money than the people making college degrees. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So it's just reality.
Yeah, and you mentioned one that I think is really important. Like HVAC guys that I know. I mean, they're making really good money, and it's not that it's work, right? Like they have to bust their ass. They have to know what they're doing. But I think that was one of the fields where my friend was like, he was like, you don't have to keep calling me for any of this stuff. So this was a few years back, and he just showed me what he was doing, and I'm telling you right now, some of this stuff, it's so technical in many ways. And there are some risks when you're, transferring fluids and stuff like that. But when you really start to learn about a lot of these jobs and you look at it and you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. There is really a good way to train people and to actually relay that message. And when I was younger, and I know you work on cars, but when I was when I was in school, when I was younger, like you had to take auto shop. Like you had to learn how to change a tire. You had to learn how to, do an oil change. You had to learn how to clean carburetors. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like if you were in high school, like you were going to learn this thing. And I think we need to bring a lot of that back because those sort of mechanical skills and the ability to understand, like I talk to kids that are 22 years old. They don't know what a 9mm is. Like that when I tell them, get the 9mm
it's going
to the ratchet, they don't.
Listen, it's only going to get worse, okay? Because here's the reality of it is that, yes, we needed, like, all of these tech fields, all of these trade fields need people, okay? You need these jobs to be filled, and they're important jobs, and they're also not as simple as you might think. They used to be a lot simpler. 30 years ago, an automotive, technical job was like, if you had some mechanical talent, it was probably pretty easy. That's not the case anymore. Okay, I mean, I'm an automotive electrical diagnostic guy. That's what I do, and most of my day is spent with an oscilloscope in my hand. Okay, that's what I do. So it's the idea that these are simple jobs now. That's just not true. I mean, they're much more complicated than they used to be, and they're a lot more technical than they used to be. And these jobs are starting to get paid a whole lot more because there's no one doing them. There's just no one doing it. There's no one doing any of this stuff, and that's the problem. You need a lot more people in these fields because the other side of it is we also have a wave of AI coming. And guys, the first jobs that are going to be wiped out by the AI are not going to be your labor workers, okay? That's not going to be the people that are going to be wiped out. It's going to be mid-level managing administrators. And we were smart enough in this country to shift away from doing trade-style jobs and tell everybody, an entire generation of kids, that they had to go to college because that's the only way they'll ever do anything. They had to go to college. And now we're going to wipe out all the administrator jobs, and all those tech jobs are going to make way more money. They're going to make way, way, way more money because all those administrator jobs are going to get wiped out by AI. And the ones that aren't going to be wiped out are the people that are fixing your car. You got changing your oil. You got changing your door. I mean, all that stuff, that's not going anywhere. There ain't no robots coming to fix your door jamb when something falls off of it or when something breaks, okay? You're still going to have to call a guy. And there's no, if anybody believes that the robots are just going to suddenly manage to be able to do advanced diagnostic on automotive vehicles, you're ridiculous, okay? That's not even anywhere remotely close to happening, okay, guys? Not even close. And we're probably 15 to 20 years from that ever happening. Okay, Miss Lou, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Hey, Walter, good evening, everybody. And to your point, all those robots are going to need technicians to handle them. So there you go, back into a whole new tech field being developed through AI. These people are going to have to learn. It's not going to be just coding. It's going to be, how to maintain these robots, what to, parts, all this stuff. It's going to be back to sort of a trade, So
Well, that's
I
what
think it's
happens for all
important.
of these advanced fields. I mean, the idea that like robots are going to take over and everything, like, guys, someone's got to fix the robots. Okay, what are you going to say? The robots are going to fix the robots? And then who's going to fix the robots that fix the robots? Somebody has to fix something at the end of it, okay? At the end of the day, the humans or someone's going to be fixing something, okay? Like, that's the way I look at it. It's like your car is always going to break, okay? It's always going to have problems. It's never going to be one of these things. Like, they tried to move us, and this is one of the things they did with the electric vehicles. A lot of people don't know about this problem. Electric vehicles is actually going to cause a major issue in about 15 years because all of those vehicles that have electric batteries in them are dead vehicles after 15 years because they're useless. Okay, they're useless. And that means you've taken about 2 or 3% out of the entire supply of used vehicles, which means used vehicles is going to go up dramatically. Okay, that's another problem that no one talks about. Because you take out cars out of the market because they're useless. I mean, you can't go drive a 1990 Dodge Neon. You can go pick one of those up for cheap as hell and drive it because it's got a heater in it. But there ain't no such thing as a 20-year-old Tesla, baby. That thing is toast. That thing is useless after its batteries have been spent out. So I mean, that's a completely dead vehicle, removed from the market. And people can drive old. There's 1970 pickup trucks that are still driving around just fine today. Okay, John Kitlover, what's up, man?
Hey, this is John Kittover. I'm running for Congress in the 16th District of Illinois. I've been using Suno, the music app, and adding in my favorite wisdom and poetry quotations and poetry, and it is just unbelievable. And I did this $10 a month subscription. You can do about 250 or 500 songs. It is so incredible, and it makes the whole library and record you've ever heard of every pop artist, everything. This, you're like, it's so stupid. The future of music and the future of movies is really user generated. So uh, I'm just saying that in terms of our economy, in the information age, the information technology age, many young people don't know how to use their brain. And unfortunately, they're completely hypnotized and they're not creating anything. And they're just drones going on 80-mile, scrolls, doom scrolls. And so with young people today, either they have to be instructed on how to use AI and intelligence to improve their intelligence, which is going to raise their emotional intelligence, because a lot of these young people have absolutely no understanding of philosophy, psychology. They're just road ragers, and they're very depressed, and they've been vaccinated, they've been lied to, they've been, abused by their government, and now we're 38 trillion in debt. So if we don't grow out of this situation psychologically, we may never overcome the actual fiscal, material crises, et cetera. So I'm just saying that the future of AI really will be for personal development, self-development, and hopefully leaders can help educate young people on how to overcome their own ignorance, stupidity, brainwashing, and free them from the mind viruses that have been created over the past couple of years.
Well, AI specifically, I tell everybody that you better learn how to use it because no matter what field you're in, if you don't know how to use AI, someone else that is in your field will learn how to use it and they'll figure out how to do your job better, faster, and more efficiently than you possibly ever could. That's just the reality of it. You don't have a choice. I mean, the AI, once they let the genie out of the bottle with these big, large language models, if you don't figure out how to use it, guys, somebody else will, and somebody else will be able to do whatever it is that you do. They'll be able to do it faster than you. They'll be able to do it better than you. They'll be able to do it way quicker. And they'll be able to learn things about it that you don't even know because that's just how it is. Now, there's very limited fields that it doesn't work like that. Like hands-on tasks fields. Again, the trades. That's what we were talking about before. The trades, no one's going to teach you how to, bend your wrist to the right direction so you can get the ratchet on the back of something, okay? Then no one's going to be able to teach. There's no AI that'll ever show you how to do that, okay? But if you're trying to learn how to write, you're trying to learn how to read more efficiently, you're trying to learn new and interesting information, almost anything can be taught to you through these AI programs. And if you don't want to use them, that's your fault because somebody else is going to. And you don't have a choice. Someone else is going to use it, and they're going to be better at you than your job within 10 minutes if they use AI on a regular basis because that's just how these things are. So, It's an absolutely necessary thing for people to learn how to use these systems. I tell everybody, go use AI, use it on a regular basis because it's here to stay. It ain't going anywhere. And you better figure out how to use it because other people will. Miss Lou, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Another thing, Walter, you brought about, because I wanted to do an HBO documentary called Just Show Up. I think it's really important that a work ethic be reestablished in this country because people have gotten, especially those who've had assistance and who now are going to be required to go out and work if they're able to, which is the right thing. That they have a work ethic and try and find something that you're interested in. To your point, the trades, whatever, try and find something that you like to do that you can do and commit yourself to it. People who work hard, who show that they want to work, are the people who are going to succeed.
Well, that's 100% true. I mean, like, there's a whole wave of people that it's mainly the younger generation, people in my generation, that they don't want to do anything. I mean, they want to show up and they want to work a 9 to 5 every single day, and they want to get off work and then they want to go, to the bar, or they want to go, go hang out with their friends or go kayaking or do all this nonsense, like whatever things that they think are super important to their, well-being or something. It's just nonsense. What you should be doing, especially when you're under the age of 30, under the age of 40, really, is working as much as you possibly can every second that you possibly can. Men specifically, I don't know about women on this scenario, but men specifically, if you are not working every minute that you have when you're young, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it because later in your life, you won't be able to do this kind of work. Okay, I mean, I work 19 and a half hours every single day. Okay, I get up at 6 in the morning and I get off here. I finish this show at usually 11:30. Then I stay up till about 1 in the morning, finishing editing, setup, and setting up for the next day. Every single day. Every single day, I do the exact same thing every single day. This is how you work. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should work. Work as much as you possibly can. Why not? Give yourself a reason why you shouldn't work as hard as you possibly can. There's no reason to it. If you want to try and act like I only want to work a 9 to 5. Well, cool. You can work a 9 to 5, but if you work a 9 to 5, you're never going to be anything more than whatever you are currently. That's how it is. Okay, John, you have your hand up again. Go ahead.
I don't think I had my hand up, but I mean, I would just push back a little bit from compulsive work. If you can think harder, not work harder, and supposedly AI will do that, well, then you'll have to essentially learn the fine art of meditation and relaxation, as opposed to being chronically driven for success. If you already have success, in particular, if you have a standard of living which you're satisfied with, because philosophically, if you have enough, I mean, you're a happy person.
Disagree completely. You should work harder. Everybody should work harder all the time. That's how that should be.
I'm just saying that in the age of abundance, which we technically are probably the greatest abundance in human history comparatively, everything's already been built. I mean, all the houses we're living in have been built in the 20s through the 60s for the most part. The problem with America today is property taxes, teachers' unions, pensions, and these never-ending taxation schemes, whether it's the tollways or your home. I'm just saying, I can see the no's in the stage or in the audience saying, no, we need to keep our teachers' unions and our pensions high and our never-ending
let me tell you right now, John, I highly doubt my audience is saying that. I'll tell you now. Most of these people in my audience are not interested in teachers' unions, and they don't like them very much. This is a very conservative show. So, but to your point of what you're talking about before about compulsive work, I didn't say compulsive work. I said work. Like the people that only work from a 9 to 5 every single day, you are never going to be anything more than you are currently. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy it if you like whatever you're doing. But if you want to get ahead in life, the only way to get ahead in life is to work harder. That is the only way. And that means work longer hours, work every minute that your business allows you to, do extra work without somebody telling you to do it, come up with solutions without someone pushing you to do it, come up with different things. And if you don't have that option, if whatever you're doing, if you don't have something that you can do when you get off work, if it only works from 9 to 5 and then that's it, then start something else on your own. Start something entirely different. Just a couple years ago, I wasn't doing all this. Just a couple years ago, I had nothing. And I built this entire platform. I built my entire following. I built everything up on my own with no one helping me. This is, if you do, when you want to do it, you live in a world now where you can go on frickin' TikTok, start a channel on TikTok, learn how to use it, and then within a year or two, you can be making significant money from it. Okay, you live in a whole new world. You can sell crap on TikTok that you don't even care about and make thousands of dollars a month. Okay, I mean, there are numbers of ways that you can learn how to make more money. And if you're struggling and you're having problems and you can't figure out how to make more money, then go out, start something on your own, and figure out how to make more money. There is ways to do it, and that's what your point about the AI stuff. AI will teach you how to do all that stuff. You want to learn how to make good content? Have AI teach you how to make good content. You want to learn how to be a video editor? AI can teach you how to be a video editor. If you want to learn how to write things, AI can teach you how to write things. Do it. I mean, there's no reason. You live in a world now where it costs you $20 a month to have access to the world's history of information, and you can ask it anything and ask it to teach you anything, and it'll do it right there, right in front of you, right in whatever, in any way you want, at any speed you want. I mean, that's the greatest thing about an AI teacher is like the most advanced tutor that's ever existed. You can be as retarded or brilliant in any way, and it is still going to be able to help you in no matter what situation you're in. So there's no excuse, really. Go figure out how to do something. If you don't have a job that allows you to work extra, then start something else. I mean, that's the other way to do it.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier about those batteries. Somebody out there needs to figure out how to recycle some of these batteries. There is so much valuable stuff in there. If you can safely do it and charge a disposal fee and get some money for the stuff that's inside of them when these cars all die out in 15 years, I mean, you literally have a good startup. Probably be $100-200 million industry in the beginning, and then it's probably going to turn into $1 billion industry with the amount of electric cars that are out there being sold right now. They have that same issue, and even if it's not the whole car, you're going to get batteries, right? Like we've always had issues with batteries, even though now there's a few companies that are recycling alkaline batteries, which used to just go into landfills. So I keep telling people they think that the process for our landfills isn't scientific. It's very scientific, and the way that they've created them is so that they can be mined in the future. It's like it's in all, you know what I mean? It's very interesting, like what's coming.
Well, I mean,
and
like,
I
again,
probably won't be here then, but
the next level of innovation for all this stuff, you never know where it's going to go. Someone will come up with something that they can use that stuff for, and it'll happen at some point. Okay, Tail Spirit, you came up here. What's up? Going once. Going twice.
Yeah, well, just been listening for all of you and hearing for all of you about the Tesla and all those. But
All right, then. We can't understand a single word you're saying there, bud, so guess not. You sound like a mostly drunk Scotsman. So that's what you sound like. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I can't understand you. So if you can't speak normally, then we'll just have to talk to you later. Thanks, Tail Spirit.
Okay, then I'll
yeah, send us a DM.
Bye-bye.
You got to love it. Welcome to the internet, everybody. Anyway,
Why
guys.
Why was the bye-bye so clear, though, Walter? Why was
I don't know, man.
The bye-bye was clear.
I have no idea. We couldn't understand a single word he said, though. So, if you're Scottish and you come up here and you're hammered drunk, I'm sorry. I can't understand you. Then you got to leave the stage. Okay, guys, if you'd like to join the show, you're welcome to do so. You got to go to x.com, go to @WCDispatch, and you can join the show and call in. There was another topic I was going to bring up tonight, but I don't know if Matt Tardio is going to be joining me or not. I sent him something earlier, but we'll see if he actually shows up or not. We were going to talk about some of the Venezuelan, some of the military actions that I think is going on down there, because there's a bunch of interesting stuff happening down off the coast of Venezuela, and I think that there's a lot more going on, and I did some numbers talking about it, looking into why exactly we'd be there. Did you guys know that apparently 5 to 8% of all of China's oil supply comes from Venezuela? Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. So that's some interesting stuff that I figured out earlier today. So that's you wonder why we have the whole fleet down there. I keep telling people it's not because the frickin' drug boats. All right, there's maybe that's part of it, but that ain't all of it, baby. There's something else going on. So I've been trying to think about this for a minute, and I started doing some real research into it. So yeah, 95% of Venezuela's oil export goes to China, and they make up about 5 to 8% of their entire oil import. So that's a pretty significant number. You wipe that out, then suddenly China goes from getting able to get cheap discounted Venezuelan oil to having to get a lot more. Go ahead, Miss Lou.
I think you're spot on with that, Walter. I think the whole thing down there is relationship to the CCP. The question is, are we trying to flush them out through a regime change, or what are we doing? Because definitely Maduro was put in by a CCP entity, as was Lula in Brazil. So it's the CCP infiltration down there is pretty intense. So I'm thinking this has more to do with that really than drugs, although, that
Well,
sounds
and
like
that's what my point has
interrelation.
been the whole time. Is that I think it's obviously something more than just the drug stuff. Of course, if you look around today, the left today has been screaming because apparently Pete Hegseth at some point during the first hits on the strikes on the narco terrorist boats, apparently he gave the order to kill them all, kill everybody, and they're like, oh my God, war crimes. I'm like, blow them up. Boom. I want more. Put the videos out. Why aren't we getting all the videos? I mean, there's got to be more. We've only seen like 6. I want like all of them. Every video you have of them blowing these boats up, I need more. I need more drug boats being blown up, and I need the videos of it on a regular basis. I mean, again, I'm sorry, I don't care. I mean, if you guys, I've got no qualms about blowing up more drug boats. That's not a problem for me. I actually enjoy it. I think it's a great thing. I think you should blow up more of them. And you claim it's war crimes. I don't care. Sucks. Maybe you shouldn't run drugs to our country. You're in great danger if you do so.
Can I ask you a question about the Venezuela, the boats down there, Walter?
Go ahead.
Do you know how like the Panama Canal fits into all this? Because I thought that Trump got it sorted when he first got in office, but now I've had the impression it's not sorted down there. The whole Panama Canal.
Well, so the issue with the Panama Canal when Trump's administration, by the way, this is why I knew something interesting was going to happen in the Southern Hemisphere, because the first thing that Marco Rubio did, like day one, was he flew down to Panama. So, I mean, I think Trump is in a whole different world now dealing with this problem. I mean, the first thing they did was they went to Panama. So whether or not that got resolved, I'm not sure. I think we should just take it back. I think it's ours. What are they going to do? What is the Panamanian government going to do if we take back our canal? They're going to cry? I mean, what are we worried that the Panamanian military might come after us? What are they going to do? I mean, shut the hell up. It's ours. I mean, I think we should just be. We had a space a while back in one of the shows that I was talking about. It was probably 2 weeks ago now. I said that that we should just go back to actually being a real empire, not a fake one. We're a fake empire right now. I want to return to actual imperialism. I think it's much better off that way. And that means we tax all of the countries that we, provide support for instead of us sending them money. That's one of the problems we have. Instead of having like a tribute system like we used to, we send them money rather than them send us money. And I think we should reverse that because I don't think it works. That would solve a lot of our problems. But, in terms of what's going on with Panama, I haven't actually watched to see if there's any current update on it. I know that the Trump administration is paying a lot of attention to it at first, and I doubt highly that they've just let that slide. So I'm not sure. I know that they made some sort of deal with them to make sure that the Chinese couldn't control. There was 2 specific ports that were on the Panama Canal that they weren't going to allow them to control. The way that they had done that also was that the company that owned them was a Hong Kong company that happened to own those 2 ports. And then the Hong Kong company, the moment that Hong Kong was taken over by the Chinese, then they immediately gained control of it and they took over those companies. So until that got fixed, I don't know if it got fixed or not. I assume that the deal, whatever Trump's deal with the Panamanian government was, that the Chinese can't control the Panama Canal anymore. So I haven't seen a current update on that, though. Let's invade Panama and find out. Anyway, go ahead, Miss Lou.
Yeah, that Walter, you just stated the whole update that I know of. But I know that I thought the plan was, correct me if I'm wrong, that the stated plan for the administration was that we were going to take it back. Am I wrong?
I mean, I hope so. I want us to take Panama. I want us to take Greenland. Hell, let's invade Mexico.
Didn't they say that we were going to do that? Wasn't that a stated mission?
Well, that was what the Trump Roe doctrine was. The Trump Roe doctrine was that we were going to deal with Panama. We were going to, control our hemisphere. It was a hemispheric idea. And by the way, I think part of that was all a play, but that's a very long-winded discussion to explain that. If you guys want to read, there's an article on my Substack called it's called the Trump Feint Doctrine. I recommend you go read it if you want to understand what I think is going on in foreign policy. Now that was based on the Iran strikes, but that's a detailed long-term strategy plan. So I think, and that turned out to be 100% right, by the way. In April, I said that they were going to strike Iran and exactly how they were going to do it and why they were going to do it, and then it happened, like to the letter. So go read that. That's one of my more popular pieces on my Substack. Go check that out.
Yeah, so for the Panama thing, from my understanding, is that we got pretty much everything that we wanted. It wasn't necessarily about like physical control. It was about It was about the access, the fees, the priorities. They were making some of our ships wait like a week sometimes or something. It was something crazy, but that was, I think, so they got some of the priority interests taken care of. I'm sure there's probably more to do, right? And there's probably more to come when it comes down to that. But Panama is that canal is very, very important, and I don't think people understand how much stuff really comes through there, how much of our goods actually come through there. Now, are they doing other things too? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things with Trump is that if he doesn't get his way, he knows how to apply pressure so that either whatever he wanted to be done becomes it just matters less to him because he's getting it some other way. So I think that's kind of part of that strategy. But as far as I understood it, we got pretty much everything that we wanted out of it, and I'm sure there's still more to come.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't doubt that we're not going to be done focusing on that. I think that I think the southern hemisphere of the Americas is going to be a lot more going on down there. And I mean, if you guys saw Trump's post when he was talking about Tito Esfura, the presidential candidate for the Honduras National Party, so that's some, I think a lot of things are happening down in South America that we're going to see a lot more about this. I think this administration is not going to be focused so much on the Middle East, even though that's all everybody ever wants to talk about is the Middle East. But I think that focusing closer to home is probably going to be the goal of the administration. They've said it from the beginning, so that's why the whole fleet's down there right now. So I think a lot of things are about to change over here. So we'll see.
What's the name of the doctrine you said you had on your Substack, please, so we can look
Oh,
for
the
it?
Trump feint doctrine is the name of the article.
FEINT,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Feint.
Thank you.
Yeah. You'd have to. My guess is I think now at this point it's probably paid subscriber only because it's pretty old at this point. But if you guys want to support this show and you want to support my work, it's only $5 a month to subscribe to the WC Dispatch, and you get all my articles and everything. And the show is also streamed live. The video version of it is streamed live on that website every night. So if you guys want to check that out, you're welcome to do so. But yeah, the Trump feint doctrine is the name of that. It's I forget what it would have been under. Probably would have been under opinion. If I had to guess, I'd have to go look. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Okay.
Hey, I got a question. Walter, can I ask you a question?
You can. Go ahead.
What do you think about the deportation numbers and then I guess the schedule or, what are the goals and should the administration issue bounty hunter licenses in all sanctuary cities?
Bounty hunter licenses? Like, what do you mean by bounty hunter? Like deputized citizens or what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you apply for a license or you apply to a usajobs.gov opening because if they really want to achieve any kind of numbers, I mean, they can't leave it to sanctuary city police forces and their Democrat mayors. So the only way to do it at scale is to basically recruit from the population. I'm just saying it's theoretically possible. I did see one article about it a couple weeks ago. I'm just wondering, what's your opinion on how they should proceed, or are they really even going to do what they propose? I mean, is it even possible without?
They're hiring from ICE. There's all kinds of ads that they're hiring.
Yeah, I
from
mean,
ICE.
listen. ICE is hiring thousands of people. So if you want to help out with the deportation efforts, then join ICE. That's one thing about it. But in terms of the numbers, everyone wants to see these gigantic, huge numbers of deportation. And I keep telling people that the better thing that you should be looking at is not necessarily the forced deportation numbers. What you really should be looking at is the voluntary deportation numbers, the people that are leaving, self-deporting. That's the numbers that are much more important, and that's where the higher numbers are anyway. I mean, we've already seen 2 million people self-deport this year. So, I mean, that's a massive number. So you've got almost 2.4 million people that have left the country this year. That's the first time we've had net out-migration, demigration from the country ever. I mean, well, I don't know about ever, but in the past, my lifetime at least. I mean, that's the numbers you really want to look at, which is what I keep telling everybody. The biggest deal about the numbers is that what the Trump administration is doing is, and I call it goblin posting. And that's the best way to describe it, because what they're really doing is essentially, they tell you if you're here in this country, and you are here illegally, you at any moment might just be dropped directly into alligator Alcatraz. The alligators might get you, or you can be, you can be sent to any of the other named places that are always all horrible. Like, I mean, it's goblin posting. What they're trying to do is make it so it is uncomfortable to be here in the first place. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to do. And that's the idea with it, because you want more self-deportation. I said this a while ago in the show. The idea with self-deportation is it's better when people self-deport because the economy naturally adjusts to it when people start to leave on their own free will. Okay, so they just, they leave their jobs, they leave the country, the local economy has to hire someone back, and it's not just massive waves of people being dropped out of the economy immediately. And if you took out, and by the way, there's 50 million people here illegally currently. If you took out 20 of them, hell, if you took out 15 of them, I think you'd probably crash our economy. Okay, that's probably what would happen. Now, if you take out 10 million of them and you do it over the course of 4 years and you have them all do it by self-deportation, that's a good way to do it. I think that's probably the better way to do it. And the idea, I think, it really just make it more difficult for people to be here illegally. Make it almost impossible. I think that's the best way. What is up, Jay?
Why do you think the economy would crash? I mean, 40% of the economy is all borrowed money from the Federal Reserve. So why do you think it would crash if people who aren't supposed to be here legally, were removed forcibly?
Because if you remove 15 million people from the economy, all of the local areas that they are in then have to struggle because they don't have the same people there. There is a push and pull to this. It doesn't. It's not like it's just all fun and games. The Democrats knew what they were doing. Okay, they knew what they were doing. If you take out, say tomorrow, if you just took out 10 to 15 million people directly out of the economy tomorrow, like snap your fingers, okay? What happens to all those areas? All those areas that all of the local gas stations had to pay for this, they were buying stuff at those local gas stations. They were buying food, they were buying gas at the local gas stations. They were buying food at the local grocery store. You take all of those people out, all of that's gone overnight. I mean, it's not as simple as you may think. I mean, you got to think about it in a long-term strategy here. The Democrats knew what they were doing. Okay, when you bring in shitloads of people and leave them all over the country and push them everywhere, it's not so simple to get rid of everybody all at once. So you have to have that's why I say the self-deportation numbers are better.
A lot of the money they're spending are cash welfare benefits. I'm not saying that there's not a speck of dust out of place. No,
listen, you said that there are a lot of them that are cash welfare benefits. That's not necessarily true. Okay, illegals aren't always the ones getting these. Okay, lots of illegals are just here completely undocumented with nothing. They're just working and spending money in the local areas because they're here illegally. So it's not like it's not that simple. Is that they're all?
You live in a large Democratic city? You don't live in a large Democrat city, do you?
What are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, I live in
New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C. I mean, anywhere there's a large Democrat city with a Democrat mayor or a Democrat governor, they give out cash benefits and they are sanctuary cities. I'm just saying, it doesn't sound to me like you've experienced or observed it personally or firsthand.
No, dude, I'm trying to tell you that the problem. Okay, let me explain it to you in a different way since you don't seem to understand here. Okay, the town that I live in is Springfield, Ohio. Okay, the Haitian population that they dropped here, 30,000 of them. Okay. If you removed all 30,000 of them tomorrow, probably 5 or 6 businesses out of this area would go out of business because they would have 0 workers at them. Okay? Do you understand the problem? You can't just remove all of these people overnight. It crashes things. It causes major problems. And that's legal, by the way. Those are asylum people. Okay, so you're not even talking about the illegal people that are working in all the other jobs. Like, if you think taking a bazillion people out of the country does not have an effect on the economy, you are not paying attention. I mean, that is just reality. This is why they brought them all here.
Is not a real number. We're talking about millions of people.
Listen to me. You want to play semantics with me, buddy? You can, but I'm telling you right now, you're still wrong. I mean, if you take out 20 million people tomorrow, you would crash the U.S. economy. It would happen. Okay, even if they were paying cash welfare benefits, they're still spending the money somewhere. They're still spending it at a local grocery store. They're still spending it somewhere. Okay, you're still having money that is being spent by somebody. Okay, you can't just drop 20 million people out of the country and think it is magically not going to change things. It would. Okay, I got somebody else here. What's up, Jay?
What's up, Walter? So instead of $1,000, I say make it $5,000. And if you don't take the $5,000, we're coming to find you. That's it. It's that simple. And this should have been done with task forces. You should have had the worst first task force, and then you should have had a task force for just people that are here illegally. That's what should have happened from day one. There should have been none of this worst first because we were simply afraid to, offend somebody or it was bad. No, it should have been, if you're here illegally, no matter how long you've been here or whether or not you've gotten a parking ticket, we're coming to find you. So now we offered $1,000. If that's not working well enough, offer them $5,000. $5,000 will save a fortune in the long run. And then if you don't take the $5,000, you're fair game. We're coming for you. I don't see how anybody could argue with that when you're offering people $5,000 to leave the country and we'll pay for your flight. I don't see how you argue with it.
Well, listen, you've heard me talk about this idea before. I don't even think you need to offer that much. I think you need to offer free cruise ships. Okay, free cruises to the Caribbean, baby. You get everybody gets on a boat. It's a one-way trip. Okay, we don't have to even tell them that it's a one-way trip. You just put them on the boat. Shut up. Everyone just get on the boat. Okay, look, it's nice. You get free drinks the whole way there. Okay, and then it just so happens that when you get to Haiti, you don't get to come back. I think this is a much more efficient idea. You can put thousands of them. We'll bring the cruise industry back. The cruise industries will be able to buy all new boats with all that money. Okay, like this would be great for the economy.
Bro,
This would be great for the country.
Pinocchio. It's like when they send the toys to what was that called? What was the name of it? Misfit Island? Not Misfit
Paradise Island.
No, was that what it was? Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, Walt, very briefly, can I clarify something you were trying to explain to that one guy? Because you said it, and then you kind of, the other guy started trolling you. You said the Democrats knew what they were doing, and to kind of, I think, clarify in simplest terms, there's the effort that everybody in this room is aware of trying to create dependency for everybody on the system, right? On the government. What Walt's explaining is that by putting all these people there and putting some kind of dependency, now all these little towns, bigger towns, big cities especially, have a dependency, right? So there's this problem where you can't just unplug them, right?
Yes.
So that's what he's saying. And so we can't just turn around and do it. Should we do it? Can we do it over time? Absolutely. And 2 million people going self-deported in the first year, in this year alone, Walt, is that right? What
Yes.
you said, 2.14, whatever it was?
It's 2 million have left by self-deportation so far, and then another
That's
400,000. I think it's close to 400,000 in forced deportation. So the numbers are pretty good. I mean, they're good numbers.
Tremendous. I mean, that's tremendous. That's like
Yeah, I mean,
that's a huge
it's more than people ever want to admit to. Okay, so like this is what I keep talking about. The self-deportation numbers, that's what you want more of. Okay, if you get this, and that's why making it more difficult, that's how you do it. Okay, so take away all of the benefits that even exist anywhere for anybody that is not a U.S. citizen. No benefits. Okay, sorry. I don't care if you're here legally as immigrant, you don't get any benefits unless you're a U.S. citizen. That's how it should work. Even if you're a permanent resident, I don't care. You don't get anything.
No, in 100%. If we can identify this, which I'm sure they have done, if we've correctly identified the top 3 to 5 incentives, one of them is remittance payments back home because they can help their families, and whatever else those other things are, like free services, free healthcare, whatever. And Jay, to your point about the 5,000, they're already going at record numbers for 1,000, correct? Walt, isn't that the number that we're giving them?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of them leaving. Okay, so by the way, this is numbers that are given to me by. That is numbers of foreign-born people that have left the workforce that are not legal visas. So there's new data on that. I'm sure by the end of the year, I'm hoping I actually see a DHS number on how many people have accepted that payment. The payment for self-deportation. I want to see those numbers.
Plus the flight or something like that. Isn't it like a total? I don't know. It's not like a Bob Barker total package, but I think there's multiple different things you get plus the $1,000.
Right. I mean, which is why I keep saying that.
Don't you also get the incentive that if you self-deport, that you can actually come back to the United States legally? You can be on some
Yes. See, listen, now that's the best part about it. Okay, that's the wink and nod. Yeah, you can come back. Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you'll be in first in line. You just sign up. Yeah, just get out. I mean, like, listen, I don't care if they come back or not. I mean, like, it doesn't matter to me. Okay, like I hope we tell them whatever they want. They get sunshine, rainbows. You'll be able to come right back. You'll be able to apply. You'll be able to get right through it. I hope they don't do anything. Okay, I mean, just get them out. I mean, I don't care what it takes. This is why I keep saying the cruise ship is a brilliant idea. No one's listening to me on it. I hope the administration starts paying attention. I'm telling you, Carnival cruise ships, free drinks all the way down there. I think this works, dude. I'm telling you.
Bro, I don't know. Those Carnival cruise ships have some tough outcomes. You've seen the videos online. Do you think these will go any better?
No, but listen, but they're a one-way trip, okay? Who cares? I mean, look, you put them on the ship, you give them free drinks for a whole week, and then when they get to Haiti, then suddenly they got to get off. Get the hell off the boat. I mean, that's it. I mean, you don't get to come back on. Or maybe you just don't even tell them that. You just do it. You're like, we're on an island excursion. Have the Caribbean cruises, they have an island excursion, and except the island excursion is everybody leaves the boat, and then the boat just leaves. That's the better way to do it. So who cares? Just leave them on whatever island you left them on. It doesn't matter to me. And I think that's a much better idea.
That's awesome, dude. That's so funny.
Well, listen, it'd be cheaper. Okay, like an all-inclusive cruise. Listen, how much is an all-inclusive cruise? An all-inclusive cruise is like $600. Okay, like you can get a really like Disney-esque style Carnival cruise ride for $600 for a week. Okay, so how many of those could you get on with like the illegal immigrants? I'm telling you. This is the only way you do it, man. You just start dropping those pamphlets all over the place. Free cruise rides. Come on, baby, let's go. Jack Tron, you came up here. What's up, man?
Love boat.
That's right, the love boat.
I don't know, but I'm from Cleveland, and about 25 years ago, maybe longer, maybe it was in the 80s, they decided that was they didn't have enough manpower and the police to round up all the people that were violating their probation for various reasons or had bench warrants out and stuff. So
Okay, so hold on a minute here. Go ahead, Jacktron. What's up, buddy? Oh, sorry, I accidentally just muted people. Go ahead, Jacktron.
Well, two things. One, there's the stupid chart Amy Klobuchar put out about the inflation, and then two, about 56 minutes ago, the official Doge account just gave an update. I posted the update at the top.
What is the official update?
It said over the last 3 days, agencies terminated and descoped 15 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $289 million and savings of $140 million, including a State Department education training contract for Global Peace Operations Initiative capacity building assistance in Togo, an 80,000 HHS consulting contract for executive coaching, and a 2.7 HUD consulting administrative management contract for multifamily assessment contractors for green resilient and retrofit program. And
It
my
just
post has
like
some
I love these
screenshots.
contracts because every time you hear these things, it's like none of them, like no one has any idea what any of those things are, and none of them are useful. Like none of them are important at all. No one's gonna miss any of that shit. No one's gonna care. I mean, I love it. Like, I mean, my favorite was when Trump read the, like, you remember his joint address to Congress, and he just did like 10 minutes of reading them. He's like, and there's $10 billion to circumcisions in Mozambique. Like, what the hell? Like, it's just
What was that one country? What was that one country? Lesotho, whatever the hell it was.
Lesotho. Lesotho. No one knows where the hell that is. And you know the funny thing is, I actually do know where Lesotho is because my college that I attended, they actually had a program where you could go to Lesotho for a week, and one of the professors was like all about Lesotho. He was like his entire life it revolved around helping the people of Lesotho, the little tiny shithole country of Lesotho. It was such a stupid, like I thought I was dying laughing because I could just see that professor, and he was like this super woke little weasel of a guy, and his name was, I think his name was Rosenberg. But I guarantee you that the moment he said that, he probably like broke his chair. Like, he was, oh my God, Lesotho was the greatest country in the world. Like, it's a shithole. Okay, no one cares.
He probably works at
It's a tiny country in Africa.
Yes, I know it is. I know it is. It's a very, very tiny country in Africa.
Rosenberg probably works at USAID or used to.
Probably. I mean, he might. Maybe that's where his grant came from. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, Heather, you got your hand up. What's up?
Hey, Walter, happy Thanksgiving and
Happy
congrats
Thanksgiving.
on that beautiful little boy of yours. He's
Little
gorgeous.
girl. Little girl.
A little girl. I'm sorry. I
You're
get
okay.
everybody confused. There's been so many lately. But yes, absolutely congratulations. And I'm sure you had an amazing Thanksgiving with your little ones. They're so precious. So about the Venezuela thing, I did post some things in the Purple Pill. Emerald Robinson, who I guess is an independent reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have time to go into all this because I have a 30-foot inflatable snowman that's about to go get blown down the street. But anyway, you really want to, I DM'd this to you the other day, and Benny Johnson did a follow-up on it. But it has to do with Venezuela, 3 whistleblowers from the 2020 and 2024 elections. Why we have Venezuela surrounded is because of Maduro. He ordered the election in 2020 to be stolen. All the reports are there. All the names are there. They did a video conference with Trump and Elon. And the day of the 2024 election, to make a long story short, Trump didn't even know if he was going to win. These 3 guys went to Oslo, Switzerland, and somewhere else, and they ended up trying to cut off the Dominion servers that are in Syria, and they didn't know if they were going to be successful or not, but they gave it their best shot. They were able
I've
to
heard
shut
this.
them down.
So I've heard this before.
It's crazy.
I've heard this before, and I'll tell you, it's a bit too much for me to believe. Like, I'm not sure I buy it all. Like, I'm not sure this isn't even remotely true. It might be, maybe, but I'm telling you, like, I'm sorry, guys. This to me is a bit too like out there in the wilderness. My thing is, I think the reason we're in Venezuela is because it's 8% of China's oil supply. That's why I think we're in Venezuela.
That could be.
So
That could be.
I mean,
But it's
listen,
just really crazy that all this came out and Benny's now looking into it, but he confirmed it. If you watch that video I put in there, he did confirm it with people in Venezuela. He confirmed all of this.
Okay, well, send
So I
it
was
to me and
just
I'll check
like,
it out. But again, I like the idea that the Venezuelans somehow stole our election in 2020. I think that the Democrats stole our election in 2020 by shipping out bazillions of mail-in ballots. I think that's the reason that the Democrats stole it, because no one believes that Joe Biden got 89 bazillion votes. Okay, like no one buys it. In fact,
I agree with you.
The Democrats don't even buy it. Okay, like according to the Democrats, Obama was the previous president. Okay, like Biden doesn't even exist. The dude's dead. I mean, he was always dead before, but now he's like really dead. He's just the dash between 45 and 47. That's all the guy really is at the end of the day. I mean, he's not really important. No one even talks about it. Like, you go look at what happened in the previous elections, okay? Just in the ones just here, in November, early November, right? What happened with that? Did anybody go scrambling out for a Biden endorsement? No. No one even talked about it. Like, what do you think about Biden in this election? No one cares. They go, get Obama in here. No one cares about Biden. I mean, no one believes it, okay? No one believes it. But again, I don't know if it's anything to do with Venezuela or any of that stuff. I'm not sure. I buy all that. I think the real reason...
It was just crazy. I posted it for you. And yes, I mean, I went through everything that she put down and she's got a lot of stuff, and Benny confirmed it. And I was just like, holy Hannah.
Yeah, again, it's not that I... Listen, guys, please don't interrupt each other.
Sorry.
You know, you're fine. It's just, to me, it's not that I don't... Like, it might be possible... But again, guys, usually to me, it's whatever the simplest answer is usually the answer. And why on earth would we be in Venezuela? You know, right now, what are we doing in there? What are we going around there? By the way, Dominion Voting Machines is now owned by somebody else, and they're changing it to be called Liberty Machines or something like that. So people don't also forget about that. So, you know, whether or not Venezuela had anything to do with the 2020 election, I have no idea. But I do know that Venezuela is 95% of their oil exports goes directly to China, and we're in the middle of a trade war with China. So if you reduce their oil supply by 8%, they have to buy 880,000 barrels of crude a day for $20 more expensive. That's a pretty significant hit on their economy. So that's the way I look at it. Whether or not it's true, I have no idea. Okay.
I agree.
I've got a couple requests here from people coming up here. Let's see here. Jenny and Jasmine. Go ahead, Jacktron.
Do I have my hand up? Sorry.
No, listen, it's been breaking constantly for me. So if you don't,
I mean, I do have one other topic, but it's not really politics related. Just a post from Jack Posobiec that I just thought blew my mind. But
that's okay.
Really...
I think I probably know which one it is, but that's okay. We've got another hand up here. So what's up, Jenny?
Hey, I just wanted to add the Hezbollah aspect of Venezuela.
Yeah, that's another aspect of it. Listen, there's Hezbollah and in the Hamas aspect of it. There's a Nexus paper that was actually put out in 2020 talking about the Maduro-Hezbollah connection. That's actually pretty interesting. I forget who. I think that's Atlantic Council that published that one. I recommend go reading it. Yes, that is true though. For those who aren't aware, there is a significant amount of terrorist organizations that were operating in Venezuela because they're all transnational gangs, essentially. I mean, that's what they're really doing. So they're definitely part of the
Venezuelan
importing
passports and coming here with Venezuelan passports,
Yep.
getting, refugee status. So that's a huge part, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it. I've got a friend of mine, Jeff Rainforth, he's a on-the-ground reporter down at the border, and he essentially lived on the border during the Biden years. And he sent me all sorts of photos showing, Iranian passports, Venezuelan passports, all this stuff, and they were just ditched as soon as they got over the border. So, yeah, I mean, I don't doubt any of this stuff, which is another reason we need to get these deportations under control, because there's people here that we do not want here. And when someone a minute ago was talking about whether or not we wanted, the worst of the worst when we first started, you have to remember, when we first started, we didn't have the ICE funding. So people don't realize how much funding has actually been sucked out of our interior enforcement for the past 30 years or so. Clinton actually was the one that started this. Clinton started gutting interior enforcement a lot, and then it just continued underneath Obama. George W. didn't really reverse that trend at all. He just kind of left it stagnant, but Obama definitely continued to plunge it even further. And then, of course, Biden was the opposite. Biden was paying people to get him over here as fast as possible. So, there's The funding that we have now for ICE is equivalent to like something like 120 countries around the world or something like that. That's what our budget is for ICE now. So we've got the money in ICE now. So if you want to go help out with the deportation efforts, I recommend you go signing up for ICE. Okay, I brought somebody else up here just a second ago. Who was that? Jasmine. What's up, Jasmine? Or you can go ahead, Jay, if you got something to say.
No, I was just going to say Jasmine.
Yeah, what's up, Jasmine? Going once. Going twice. Okay, no Jasmine. All right, we got Robert Hartsfield up here. What's up, Robert? Going once. No Robert. Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for showing up. Yep, go ahead, Robert.
Hello.
Hey, Robert, what's up?
I was just wanting to say I'm from Arkansas. Back in '97, I moved to Northwest Arkansas, where Tyson's and Butterball and plus uh, honeysuckle white turkeys were.
Robert, I don't mean to catch off here, buddy, but what are you talking about?
About the people that they had in our plants that there. I was plant maintenance at honeysuckle white.
Okay, Robert, I'm sorry, buddy. No one has any idea what you're talking about because it seems completely unrelated to anything we were just talking about. So thank you for coming up here, Robert. You're welcome to join the show anytime, but I have no idea what you're talking about, so we're going to have to move on. Okay, guys, thank you guys for showing up here this evening. This is a Political Theater. I'm Walter Kerr. Thank you guys for showing up. If you guys want to join the show and you have anything to say, you're welcome to come up here and join the show. If you have comments, you can always put it down below. I do read all the comments throughout the show, so you guys are welcome to chime in if you want to. Let's keep moving in here. So, John, you have your hand up again. What's up, John?
Hey, thanks for putting on this show. I'm enjoying it. I was sorry. I was going to ask you, if you were made the president or king of America, what would your top 3 priorities be for we the people?
Top 3 priorities would be restore the American nuclear family, restore Christ in every single one of our schools, and completely remove all Marxism from every single form and completely end all of the aspects of Marxism in our colleges. That would be
just
my
the
3.
colleges?
Colleges is the most important. Colleges is what feeds the teachers.
Really?
Colleges is what feeds the teachers. The teachers are all trained. The teachers are all fed by colleges, buddy. You got to start at the top. Or all the teachers are trained by the same people.
I don't know about that because these people in the 3rd grade through the 8th grade.
Where do they get their teaching licenses from?
Teachers.
Where do they get their teaching license from?
The teachers are indoctrinated.
Where do they get their teacher's license from? Yeah, now you get it.
All right, well, if you believe it's top down, then you believe it's top down. But anyways, thanks for answering.
You're fine. Okay, Jenny, you got your hand up. Go ahead. Or maybe your hand's not up. It's just showing for me.
It's not.
Yeah, well, listen, the space is broken. So if somebody else has something to chime in on, go ahead. We've got about 15 minutes or so left in the show. So,
Walter, is X trying to get people to leave this platform? What's going on with this platform lately?
I have no idea, dude. My engagement has just dropped to essentially nothing. I will say, if you guys go check out, there's the new, it has a following popular feed, which is actually kind of cool. I actually like that a lot. It's actually a lot better. To me, it's even better than the For You feed. But the problem, again, on X is that no one ever leaves the For You feed. So until they fix the problems with people manipulating the For You feed, I have no idea. I mean, to me, this show, for those who have listened to the show for a long time, this show started on X, started in just Spaces. That was where it was originally. And the show had, for a little while, it was growing and growing and growing. We had about 6,000 or 7,000 live listeners a night. And then it was up to, 5,000 or 6,000 live playbacks on that. And then suddenly, in about August, it dropped to nothing. And all of my analytics completely disappeared. None of them actually worked. And nothing ever came back. It was never fixed. So, that's why the show became a live video show. And that's why it moved over to all the other platforms, which I really appreciate those who do follow this show on the other platforms. There's a link up there in the top if you guys want to do that. You can follow on Substack, or you can follow on, Spotify or Apple. There's recordings of this. The video version is on Spotify. But the reason I moved to those other platforms is because the analytics on X are just gone. So I don't know, man. I love this platform. I have a huge platform on here now. It's been amazing over the past year. I shot up from 0 followers to 100,000 followers in less than a year. So, I like this platform a lot, but they still need to fix some of the issues with it. I mean, to me, I don't understand how I can put a post out and get less than 1,000 views on anything when I have 100,000 followers. That's retarded. I mean, what is the purpose of having followers if no one sees anything you say? I mean, in articles and stuff like that that I write, when I write them on Town Hall and stuff like that, other places that people read them, I see the engagement that they get on those places, and they're through the roof. I mean, some of my articles, 10, 20,000 views and reads, and then on X, it's got like 7. You're like, what the hell? Like, it's not the content that's the problem, is what my point is. I mean, it's just, it's
Walter,
obvious.
have you asked Grok if there's a special warning on your account?
No, listen, Grok doesn't know those things, dude. Grok lies, okay? Grok just comes up with whatever ridiculous answer when you ask it stuff like that. It doesn't have access to your account information. It's not something it can do.
Well, I just know on my accounts, all my accounts have been labeled as special warning, and it tells you your account has been labeled. Essentially, it's viewing you as spam.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I have the engagement that I get on this platform. I've got like 300 million impressions over this year. I work really hard on this show. I really work hard on this platform. The problem I have with it is that it is so unbelievably inconsistent. That is the real problem I have with it. Like one week I'll get a bazillion impressions, the next week I get none. It just doesn't make any sense. Like why can't I have some consistency at least? That would be amazing, but you just don't get any. Now, again, I think Elon is still doing a lot to this platform. The things are changing, things are getting better. But at the same time, it seems like every time they change something, everything else breaks. So, Spaces, for example, I think Spaces are the future of talk radio. That's one of the reasons I like Spaces so much, because you can have speakers up, you can interact with them directly, you can ask them questions. It's like having a call-in version for the show, which is how I use it. I use it as a call-in for the show. So if you want to join the show, you can come on Spaces and you can ask questions and do all that. I think that's an amazing feature. One of the first times I ever saw Space operating, it was in the middle of the beginning of the Ukraine war. And there was 15 military analysts all on a show together talking. And they were all going back and forth, pulling information and discussing it. And it was live, raw information. And they were correcting each other and doing all this. I was like, that is the future of any information being disseminated I've ever seen. It was incredible. It was incredible. And instead, how do they treat Spaces? They treat Spaces kind of like, I don't know, it's like the stepchild that you forgot about upstairs. And they don't care about it at all. Like, this is such a fantastic idea. Such a cool concept, and it doesn't get any attention. I don't know why.
Well, it's pretty stupid that if you go to Spaces, you can't view other spaces unless you're following the people. I don't understand why Elon doesn't want, exploration on the platform, but there's a lot of things that I think they have technical, limitations to. But I don't know if you follow Adrian Dittman, but he is most definitely Elon Musk's burner account, and he regularly holds Spaces. And for a year, I was recording his Spaces and unrecorded Spaces on X. Nothing too interesting, but it's definitely Elon Musk, and it's just like an inside joke.
It's not. Okay, so listen, Adrian Dittman is not Elon Musk.
It's not Elon Musk.
Literally, you can go look. There's a space where Adrian is sitting there, and Elon actually joins his show, and they're talking back and forth to each other. They're like, "These are the most ridiculous things."
It's called having two cell phones.
Dude, listen to me. Dude, John. I like it that you find it so but that is the biggest troll ever, dude. Okay, let me tell you, Adrian Dittman is not Elon Musk.
It's 100% Elon Musk. I've listened to him for years.
But listen, dude, Elon Musk runs 5 companies. He does not have time to sit on X Spaces and host a show 5 nights a week.
Really?
No, he doesn't. Okay, you're ridiculous if you think that's true.
He doesn't play video games all night long and eat butter.
Dude, he does that once every few nights. John. Okay, look, I'm not going to argue with you about something so stupid. Okay, it's not Elon Musk. We know it isn't. Many of us know this. Okay, like it's not Elon Musk.
I'll bet you $100 and give you 10-1 odds.
Dude, you can't prove it. Who cares? Okay, enough. I mean, this is no, you can't.
I can't prove it.
Yeah, you can't. Enough. All right.
Walter, Elon Musk is requesting. Elon's requesting. Should I bring him up?
Yeah, we'll bring Elon Musk up. I mean, this is ridiculous, dude. Like, we don't have any time to listen to. I just don't have time to argue about something so stupid. But okay, guys, if you have anything else to discuss for this evening, this is the Political Theater. If you guys have any other comments or any other interesting information we'd like to discuss, go ahead, Jacktron. You had something.
Well, there was this post out from Posobiec that it's kind of I should say like a cultural thing, just because I know it's a very hot topic right now. Is Posobiec put out this tweet saying Vecna from Stranger Things is a pedophile, and I'm just like, what?
Dude, I don't watch Stranger Things. Like, it's like one of the last things I care about. But I did see that post, and then there's someone there's a community note on it, and a bunch of people said that's just patently untrue. I don't know what that was about because I don't watch that show because I think it's retarded. I watched the first episode and thought it was stupid and stopped watching it. So, I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't watch that kind of stuff. My average
You
watch.
think Pasobi could have better things to do?
Who knows, guys? Who knows? I have no idea what Pasobi is up to. He blocked me 4 years ago. I had no idea. Whenever I started on this platform, he blocked me for something. What it was, who knows? So I don't see any of Pasobic's content. So I have no idea. Okay, guys. Well, if there's nothing else to discuss specifically for this evening, thank you guys for showing up this evening. This is the Political Theater. We will be back on Monday night for more of the theater. Thank you guys for showing up. Make sure you guys share the link out. Make sure you guys share the content we put up there on the top. If you want to support me and support this show, go to wcdispatch.com and you can subscribe to my newsletter there. That's how you get it. It's only $5 a month. If you guys want to support me, you can also go to X. I've got X subscriptions available as well. That's another way you can support this show. But the best way you can probably do so is actually follow us on all of our other platforms. We are on Rumble, YouTube, everywhere else. So thank you guys for showing up this evening. We have got a lot more to cover next week. So thank you guys for being here, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Some folks are born with a liberty spark. Their hearts beat red, white, and blue. When the anchors sneer and the cameras bark, they turn the lens right back at you. Truth bound, ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not the party line sons, no, it ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Some folks inherit silk-lined halls, spend our sweat while preaching share. But when the tax man wraps his knuckles raw, their mansions suddenly look bare, impaired. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not their banker-raised hairs, no. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Yeah, some paint stars on press room lies and send the common men to toil. Ask them, how much truth will you trade tonight? They mutter, more noise, more noise, more noise. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. Not the theater's pawns, friend. It ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're America's steadfast ones. No, we won't be spun.